Ram, one of the interesting factors in this election is part to do with our first past the post system, is that every state has been a landslide.
Yes.
Even if it's not the BJP, whoever's won it has won it with a landslide.
Yes, that's what
you make that point. That's
remember.
one of the big points you make in the verdict.
Yes.
Yeah, and we said normally it's about 75% landslides. This is about 95% landslides. Every single state, the largest party is way over double.
And the definition of a landslide is
that the winner should be more than twice as much seats as the second party.
But Prannoy,
just as simple. You can use any actually.
If you remember, that was the question I asked you earlier, and largely because this has been such a polarized election, centered with one man at the center. So there was just one issue. In that kind of an election, the results from state to state have to move one way or the other, either pro-Modi or anti-Modi.
Actually, one of the big surprises I don't think we've talked about, and I just looked at the figures, is that Telangana, the BJP is leading in 5 in Telangana.
That's a big surprise.
Nobody had ever seen anything like that.
I don't think got 5 assembly seats. And they're leading in 5 Lok Sabha.
5 Lok Sabha seats in Telangana.
That's fantastic.
Seems to be that less than 10% of the votes have been counted so far.
Oh yeah, that'll change. It can change, but still to be leading in 5 for the BJP is like, nobody saw that.
So just looking at where we are right now, in Bihar specifically, the first round of counting finished at around 9:40. And right now we just finished the second round of counting at 10:10 on average. Looking at Begusarai as an example, that would mean that 1,21,000 votes have been counted. Kanhaiya Kumar right now is at 30,974 and Giriraj Singh is 62,397. So out of a total of 8 lakh to 9 lakh votes that are polled in a parliamentary segment, we are counting somewhere around 1.5 lakhs right now.
Right. Oh, that's interesting.
And that would
That's
be
still
the average
quite a
across the
long way to go. Right. But normally, the long way, the winner keeps getting more and more. That's a bump.
That's the way it goes.
So the landslide could be even bigger. But the landslides come down a
changing?
little bit. It's tempering right now. But the other surprise is the extreme victory of YSRC. He's just sweeping. If we could just look at Telangana, 23 out of 25. Sorry, Andhra. Telangana we just talked about. Andhra, 23 out of 25. Again, nobody saw that kind of a sweep. That means he's going to easily hold the assembly as well.
like his father. He seems to have many of those.
Like his father,
strengths.
yes. And what does the Congress feel as having disowned him and
Thrown him out.
they used to win every seat? He's just taken the Congress mantle.
Slap
It's the Congress
cases
base.
against him.
Plus.
Himanta, before that Mamta.
Himanta in Assam.
Before that Mamta. In fact, if you look at the seats won by former Congress people, Congress will get to very large number.
In Andhra, I'll tell you, those who have been working closely on the ground level, it's not a surprise because many TDP second-rung, third-rung leaders practically told us that they don't appreciate Chandrababu Naidu roaming around all over the place, collecting support from people who ultimately are not going to really make any effect as far as national politics is concerned.
No, and
They expected
Jagan
him
Reddy
to spend
did
more
travel.
time.
He worked on this for 2 years, going to every.
He's been on a perennial yatra mode on the lines of his father. His father also challenged Chandrababu Naidu with a yatra, and Jagan Mohan Reddy has been on this Jan Sankalp yatra for 6 months. Before that, he was on a yatra for separate statehood, and then another yatra. But quickly, I'll add one person that Jagan Reddy will be sending a cake to is Prashant Kishore. So Prashant Kishore, the political strategist, the one client he has is Jagan Reddy, apart from, of course, in Bihar. It's not clear what his status in Bihar is, but he and his team have been camping there for the past year and a half, crafting his campaign. So
But
some
he's also had
of it
a hard
could be
time. He's
to
been
that.
in jail. He's gone to jail.
Sure.
He's been
In
waiting
fact, it's
for
actually
10
very
years.
surprising to me how Chandrababu Naidu makes exactly the same mistake during every election that he loses. If you look at 2004 for that matter,
Half of them.
yeah, that's true. But like once he's in power, he makes exactly the same mistake. Because 2004, a major part of the campaign was that he's only done work for Hyderabad. He's not done anything for the rest of the state. Right now, the campaign in Andhra is that he's only focused on Amravati. All of the attention is on the special package in Amravati, and he hasn't done anything for the rest of the state.
I take some issue there because I don't think this time around Chandrababu was that rash. He has introduced a slew of schemes, and if you travel in Andhra, I don't know about the experience that the others had, you didn't come across that strong negative incumbency against him. So this could just simply be people wanting change.
That's a large part of the narrative.
But it wasn't a very urban-centric.
That's what Parliament is looking like right now.
Campaign.
Also, at the end of it, the odds of the difference between the two parties were only more than 5%. So we're talking of gross dissatisfaction. You know, that's what we defined once. A wave is one when you get lots of votes. Last time, Mr. Modi got 31% of the votes. That is not a wave. But he got a landslide. Because it's 282 seats. So wave votes. Yeah, when you have you talking about it, he's coming, he's coming, he's coming.
Popularity, so vote percentage. That's the point you're making, Dorab?
Yeah.
This time it must have gone up significantly.
It must have gone up a little.
I mean, this is bigger than 2014.
The vote percentage we'll have a look at. We'll get it a little later.
Bigger.
But their seats, BJP seats have not gone up. They've gone down since last time.
But they've lost, they've made up in Bengal.
Let's have a look at the All India figure for BJP on its own if we can.
-8 or something.
Can we have BJP state by state?
So that BJP plus 326, but BJP on its own, All India, they're 276, down 6 seats. So
Can
the
we have it
vote
state by
percentage
state?
may not go up that much. Sorry, you want the...
Because I think that's what we'll see whether Odisha and Bengal have made up for all the other losses.
Right. The seats?
Yeah, the seats.
State
Okay, let's go.
They're gaining 10 in Odisha.
That's right. And
Shall we go state by state once again? Because again, it's interesting to see
Lost in Madhya
the
Pradesh.
surprise of Telangana, the BJP leading in front. But let's start with Karnataka. Here, most people saw a clear BJP win, but not a landslide. This is not just a landslide. This is a huge landslide. 23 out of 28.
You know, the state government in Karnataka now is under threat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
This could see a change of guard.
Which state government are you talking about? The one that was there? That one? Oh, that one.
Yes.
That's history.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at the next one. Madhya Pradesh. This is the Congress is this is the only state they bucked the trend, and they'll be thrilled with 7 out of 29 seats. Thrilled.
After winning the assembly elections, they should have
But they lost by
done at least half.
Very marginal.
I know, but still.
Sindhya is still trailing?
India is trailing.
By how much?
Still trailing. Wow.
What's
Okay, let's move on to the next state.
He's leading.
Uttar Pradesh.
Amethi Rahul is leading.
It's been stuck at around 53, but as you were saying, Shivam, it's still probably just 2-3 rounds. So earlier on it was touching 60 and it's come down to 53. So Shekhar, what about your theory of the reverse bump? वो भी है नहीं है? Sometimes.
You have a
You got to get me in a slightly more spiritually evolved state. Then I might be able to do something.
Also, Prannoy, in UP, quickly to say that the BSP is actually doing better than the SP. The BSP is almost
interesting.
double of the SP at the moment, about 15. 8,
Wow.
15, 7,
BSP
15.
started from zero. From zero.
Interesting.
Yes.
And SP had 5 family seats anyway, of which it must have won 4 at least.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next state.
What happened to Mulayam?
West Bengal, Trinamool, 22-17. This is what most people expected actually. I mean, it's just a huge change in Bengal, but people saw that on the ground. The data showed it. At one point, the BJP was way ahead, and that was a turn up for the books. But this 22-17 is along poll lines. Maharashtra, let's have a look. Wow, look at that. 39 out of 48. That is another massive sweep, just down 2 since last time. Rajasthan, absolute landslide. Is there any state, Dora, without a landslide?
Don't think so. Doesn't look like it.
Let's have a
Punjab
look at
is a
Jammu and Kashmir, what's happening there. That's not a landslide.
That's neck and neck. Chhattisgarh, yes, Chhattisgarh.
22.
Chhattisgarh is not.
Chhattisgarh is also not there, okay. Chhattisgarh 7-4, that's not a landslide.
Almost.
Just missed.
Look at that. The BJP is actually not dropping that much. I mean,
Yeah, just down 3.
Just
Well,
down
they won 10 out of 11, but yeah, still doing very well to recover from the huge defeat in the assembly.
Yes.
Assam, look at that.
Gain of 3 in spite of Citizenship Act.
Yep.
Which is a son.
In spite of that. Or will they say because of it?
Most likely. That means the vote that...
Consolidated.
See, Assam also has a large region called Kachar. which has a large Bengali Hindu population. In the past, they've been voting the left or the Congress. In fact, it has been Congress party's god for a long time. A lot of those Hindu Bengalis have obviously shifted because Kachar is a Bengali-speaking region.
Right, right. Actually, one of the saddest words used in this campaign was, in this context, termites. I would say that's the lowest point in this campaign.
Immigrants.
Amit Shah.
Yeah. Moving on to the next one, next state, Jharkhand. Let's have a look at that. 11-3, another landslide.
Just down one, yeah.
Wow, this is interesting
we've
because
got,
this is
I think
where
there's
the
some-
Congress alliance is supposed to have actually done well.
Yes.
But the
The
JMM
Congress
hasn't
had a
done well.
wide alliance with the
11-3,
JMM.
there we are. Just
And the state government was not considered to be widely popular or very effective at all.
This
Odisha,
was supposed to be a successful alliance.
BJP marginally have 11-10. They had one last time, 1 out of 21.
But he's doing very well in the assembly.
Oh, what's the
Naveen.
assembly position?
It's expected.
Paul's got that. I'll just get back to you, but they were doing well.
There we are. It's coming up.
Here's the assembly. Oh, look at that. Wow. BJD sweeping the assembly. 63 out of 84. This, this divide here, which was actually the data showed, it's almost a 10% change in votes between the Lok Sabha and Assembly. Never seen before.
People getting more discerning,
Yeah.
more
discerning,
conscious
yeah.
of why, who they're voting for and why.
Yeah.
And
Never
with
seen
what,
this
with what
much difference.
expectation. Yes.
Even in the polling stations, when you have a simultaneous state and a Lok Sabha poll, you have to go from one to the next. You're actually going and voting one way in one,
Yes,
and
yes.
then going to the next
Yes,
and voting another way.
yes.
That's pretty remarkable.
Yes.
Okay, we have
Unusual.
sorry, we have Monideepa Banerjee with us now from outside Mamata Banerjee's residence in Kolkata. Moni, what's happening there? Is it fairly quiet, or have party workers gathered? What's going on?
Only one party worker in full regalia is right here. There are some other senior leaders coming in vehicles, but here is Ajit Da, who is an eternal optimist, dressed up as you can see. He is Chhatara Khulun. Look at him. I mean, he is such a picture of support, and he has been around here at the Kalighat home come residence of Mamata Banerjee forever and ever, and he's here today. And let me ask him, what does he think? কি মনে হচ্ছে
মনে হচ্ছে তৃণমূল যেটুকু যা অবস্থা 30-35টা মতো পাবে তৃণমূল এখন কি হবে না হবে এখন কেউ এগিয়ে নেই মানে সবাই আছে একই এতে আছে
The eternal optimist, if you can hear me over here, Ajit Babu, who is almost as iconic as this street over here, Mamata Banerjee's home. But what is happening in Bengal? Stunning. Exit polls almost, making their mark. What seems to be happening, if you ask me, is that the left has turned right in Bengal, and that is where all the votes are heading towards the BJP kitty. The last figures that we had, Trinamool was at 45% vote and the BJP was at 38% vote, which is more than double of what it got in 2014. The left vote share is down to some 6%. So that is where all the left votes seem to have gone. And what we have in the making is a saffron sweep. I mean, Bengal, is really like a chameleon, if you ask me. We were red till the other day, then turned green, and now it looks like a saffron wave is upon us.
Sorry.
No, please.
Monideepa, most of the polls were showing a distinct difference between the northern part of Bengal and the southern part. And if we look at that, look at Kolkata, TMC 5-1. And if we look at some of the other areas as we go, different parts in the north, BJP 5-2. It's completely different. Then if we look at the southern part, TMC 15-5. These are still leads, of course. But in the south, the TMCB seems to be doing better. In the west, BJP doing well. In the north, BJP doing well. So there's quite a regional difference in the voting patterns in Bengal.
Well, the North Bengal, up from Malda, has always been a kind of Congress hub. Actually Murshidabad up, it has been a Congress stronghold in the past. That's where the Congress got its seats back in the 80s, back in the 70s. That was its stronghold. And it is the south that has shifted from the left to the Trinamool, and therefore, you have a better position for the Trinamool in the south than in the north. So that is almost a historical fact. Trinamool has always been trying to make inroads into North Bengal and failed. I mean, look at Darjeeling. Mamata Banerjee visited Darjeeling in the last 8 years, probably, if I'm not mistaken, 80 times, and yet at the end of the day a complete outsider comes into Darjeeling, and Darjeeling seems to be voting for the BJP. The West is an interesting intrusion for the BJP, and it could have something perhaps to do with the Jharkhand factor, where there's an influence along the western border of the BJP. They are like right next to each other, so that could be a factor. And also ultimately it is the minority appeasement factor that seems to be working across the state, even in the West, where the BJP has had a strong leadership. So has the Trinamool, and they have been at loggerheads in places like Birbhum, Burdwan, Purulia, Bankura. They have been at loggerheads, and that is where the BJP seems to be making inroads in the West. South has traditionally been a Trinamool stronghold. It is probably going to stay that way, but North, yes, the big fight is in the North, where Congress has been in power in the previous elections.
In fact, we can also go across to my colleague Rika Roy, who's at the BJP headquarters in Kolkata, and there is more than one BJP supporter behind you, Rika. The complete contrast to Moni Deepa's background. You can see, obviously, the celebrations have started.
Absolutely, though the BJP leaders here have asked them to go low-key, but you can see what's happening here. People have already started the celebration, and though it is a working day, the roads here are pretty empty. क्या आप खुश हैं इस नतीजे से?
देखिए, आप जानते हैं बहुत दिन बाद भारतीय जनता पार्टी की जीत, हम लोग को आम आदमी की जीत हो रहा है। आप जानते हैं बहुत दिन बाद भारतीय जनता पार्टी के ऊपर जो अत्याचार हुआ था, टीएमसी सीपीएम मिलकर किया है, आज जनता हम लोग को साथ है। आज परिणाम भी आप लोग देख रहे हैं कैसे हम लोग जीत रहे हैं चारों बंगाल।
कई लोग कह रहे हैं सीपीआईएम का जो वोट्स वो आपके खाते में गया हुआ है।
ये वोट आम आदमी का है। आम आदमी और जो वोटर है वो किसी का नहीं है। वोटर देखता है कि सही में क्या होता है। बंगाल का जो हालत है वोटर ने उसी को चुन के दिया है। मोदी जी का जय है, बंगाल में ममता का पराजय है सीधा।
लेकिन लुकिंग अहेड, अब 2021 में असेंबली इलेक्शन भी है, बीजेपी क्या ऐसे ही रिजल्ट देता रहेगा?
2021 से पहले हम लोग मसनद में बसेंगे, जो बंगाल का मसनद है, कारण बंगाल का लोग चाहता है जो जितना जल्दी हो सके तो बीजेपी का पावर पश्चिम बंगाल में आना चाहिए.
Well, if you see the vote share of BJP definitely has gone up from the last elections that happened here, even the panchayat elections that happened last year. So BJP is very hopeful that they are going to gain grounds by the time, even more ground by the time the 2021 elections come, which is the assembly elections in the state. And this is a very strong indicator of how the saffron brigade has been growing in Bengal. I can tell you that the big leaders are yet to come to the BJP headquarters, but the grassroots workers who really have worked very hard during these elections, they have begun their celebrations.
All right, Rika, thanks very much for that. And as Prannoy said right at the beginning, they're speaking in Hindi, which which probably wouldn't have happened a very long time ago. But if we could just try to shift the conversation a little bit. Sudhindra Kulkarni, Modi in his new avatar as Prime Minister, or the next avatar as Prime Minister, what do you think is going to be different?
Just one quick comment on Bengal. Just as Srinivasan mentioned that YSR Congress, the leader worked for more than 2 years to prepare for this victory. Similarly, in Bengal, the BJP as well as the entire Sangh Parivar have been targeting West Bengal since 2014. So it's not a sudden phenomenon. They worked for it. Whereas the Congress has not really targeted any state and worked persistently for big gains. So there's a big lesson here for the Congress party.
In fact, I just add to that to say this is one of the interesting things about the Congress. They just simply give up states. I mean, I have never come across a political party that just gave up Odisha. Odisha, they were the number 2 party in Odisha. They've given it up. Tripura, give it up. Gujarat, give it up. So you don't even contest states where you had either you were the number 2 or you had a fighting chance. And you know, this is the outcome.
It all started in my state, Tamil Nadu, in 1967.
Yeah, of course.
They gave up after 67.
The great state for the Congress, right. Kamraj, and my goodness.
But I think one thing we've missed is the youth vote in this. I mean, when we went on our trips, we never saw or met young people who said they were going to vote Congress.
Never.
Not one person who was young.
And the data showing it was higher than normal. About 50% voted BJP, which is above their 32%, 33%, but not like everybody. It's,
No, but even the lot
50% is still a lot.
Voting for the BJP was not outspoken. It wasn't a very vocal set, even if it existed.
Sorry?
It wasn't a very vocal set, even if it existed. Young people not voting for BJP and voting for
you're right. Yeah, that's also.
You were asking Sudhendra something else?
No, I was just asking what you think Modi would be like when he returns as Prime Minister. He has a majority. Will he be any different?
I hope that the 17-hour meditation that he conducted at Kedarnath would bring some sadbuddhi and change the way he has conducted himself in the past 5 years. And as I said earlier, this victory will certainly embolden the more hardline voices in the Hindutva Parivar.
Embolden the hardline voices.
Yes, and you know, the fact that they made Pragya Thakur the candidate is an indication of what they wanted, and it has certainly, you know, in terms of consolidating the Hindu votes, it has certainly paid. Now, the big challenge before Narendra Modi would be to tame this hardline Hindutva constituency within the BJP and the Sangh Parivar.
So I was told by a very senior leader in the BJP that just before this, they knew this was going to happen, something like this, that Mr. Modi had one extreme or the other, but this now is coming a central ground, will happen. But why should he change a winning game? This worked.
It worked in the elections, but it won't work in running a very diverse nation like India. And of course, we'll have to analyze the very many factors that have contributed to this. The opposition has made the BJP victory easier this time. But running an election, especially at a time when performance on the economic front has been quite poor.
Very poor.
And the economic woes are going to worsen in the near future. So, focusing only on this polarization, communal polarization, is not at all going to make him popular or retain this popularity.
In fact, moods can change quite dramatically.
See, on the one hand, I completely disagree with him. So that's why I'm
for
trying
the first
to make
time
this
ever,
point.
and you're sitting. I mean,
no,
you got a lot
very
of
dear
guts.
friend of mine, and our friendship goes back to Mumbai times when it was still Bombay. Anyway, see, on the one hand, we should look at this election. Increasingly, these elections are becoming not only different in states, but different in every constituency. What works in one constituency does not work in the other constituency. So this requires a very minute and lower level planning.
That actually isn't what we are seeing at all.
Micro level planning. And this micro level planning the party has done.
Yes.
So
everybody
that is on the one side.
That
is on the one side.
Everybody's reacting as they support him.
No, they are not actually.
No, but
they're not actually.
I just want to challenge.
This is the difference between the actual and the exit poll.
I just want to.
So what BJP does really well is that it has a model that uses in every constituency. It's exactly the same model. It's not different models.
It's not a different model. I wanted to say that.
If you look at the hoardings and the posters and the songs, it's all Narendra Modi in all constituencies. The local candidate doesn't matter. The local cadre operates independently of the candidate. fine.
It's not only
it's not to look at
tails. He's got long coat tails.
It's not only Tsunamo 2.0, it's Hindutva 2.0. So it's not as if there's a different model working everywhere which they're calibrating. It's Hindutva across the board. I think
you're
we
making
can run away from
a
that.
slightly different point.
Absolutely different point.
If you disagree with her also.
If Hindutva has one...
You disagree on the left, on the right.
A center.
A center also.
And my view is the centrist view.
No way.
Neither the left view nor the right view.
No,
Carry on.
I'm not left.
Sorry.
So,
I'm on
no,
your right,
you're on the
actually.
right.
Carry on.
Yeah. Neither is he left. The point that we should make is, we should look at various factors that have gone into the victory of the BJP. It's not just Hindutva factor. If Hindutva factor would have been there, then it would have been a very different scenario. But what has happened is, every constituency has reacted differently. Every constituency's response has been different. And we would come to know more about it when we analyze the voting pattern in every constituency. And then we would be able to see that.
I agree with you that one election, and especially a mandate of this size, cannot be ascribed to any one reason. In Odisha, for example, Hindutva is not a factor.
Absolutely.
There it's simply the BJP mounting an aggressive campaign to take on an incumbent who's been there for 15 years, and the Congress ceding that space to them.
And,
right?
in West Bengal,
but in the north and west and in West Bengal, yes,
in
Hindutva
West
has
Bengal
been a factor.
in West Bengal, BJP did not carry forward the Hindutva movement.
Oh,
what
please,
happened
Mr.
was,
Jare.
what
is you saying? There was on the ground complete polarization.
When the moment somebody shouts Jai Shri Ram, the reaction of Mamata Banerjee to it percolates down to the last voter.
Navami, Jai
Remember
Shri
that.
Ram, every
See,
puja,
the fact is,
it was Hindutva all the way.
You cannot observe Ram Navami, you cannot observe Durga Puja. And in West Bengal, if you come down,
that's not at all true.
But the perception was there.
So that's the perception that the BJP
You
created
heightened
and
that
benefited.
perception. Then how is it not
BJP
Hindutva?
created this
Then how is it not
perception.
Hindutva?
It was West Bengal.
TMC did Ram
The
Navami.
perception that you can't celebrate
this
puja.
perception.
Who could have come?
Who created the perception? Why did you say Jai Shri
talking at the same
Ram?
time.
Why did you say I'll be arrested if I say Jai Shri Ram?
If this is the perception that you can't even hold Durga Puja, why are the left voters shifting to BJP?
No, I'll tell you that. This is what point I wanted to make.
Who had no problem with an irreligious party?
No. What we see as left voter, see, there is a difference between left voter and left cadre.
Yes.
Left doesn't have a cadre. But left, when you say left voters, they had nowhere to go for all these years. And when they found a Mamata Banerjee standing against the left, standing against communists, they shifted that. They are not traditional left voters, but they had no alternative. And today when BJP is there, they are now shifting from Mamata Banerjee to the BJP.
So
to say that they are left voters is wrong, as much as to say, in the Tamil Nadu background, to say that they are traditional DMK voters or traditional ADMK voters.
But Lalita
nothing like that
what Mr. Kulkarni said earlier, that this kind of campaign or polarization, it may be good for winning elections, but it's not good for the country.
Look, let me first say what I wanted to say about the left. Let's not forget that when the left first came in, they did an enormous amount of land reform work, which is how they built their base. Mamata, leave the fact that I think, she's slightly whatever. Now, the fact is that what has she done really to appease the needs or the demands of the poorer people in Bengal? Forget Muslim, Hindu, etc. What has she done over the last 8 years or so that she's been in power? The left actually did bring in land reforms.
May I suggest
As you know, I'm not a leftist.
Spoken like your father.
No,
I'm not a leftist.
Look at the economic survey
You're
of
really
India.
going to get me into trouble now.
Economic survey of India produced by your government. Look at the state GDP figures for West Bengal for the last 5 years and just let me know what you think.
I'm not talking about figures. I'm talking about what people in Bengal
So my
think.
question,
Right or wrong, the farmer who's sitting there and who's a marginal farmer at best.
look at agriculture in West Bengal. Look at agriculture in West Bengal.
Most of those is brought in more by the left than by Mamata. Let's
look
be
at the
frank. It's not as if I'm a great fan of what the left did towards the end of their
economic survey
thing.
last 30 years. Why don't you look at the last 5 years and the 5 years
You
before
tell
that?
me, how did the left grow in Bengal?
Left grew in Bengal, right? they threw the Bhagirda thing, and then they controlled
So
everybody.
where did
Then they controlled every panchayat.
Yes.
They controlled every panchayat, every teacher, everybody.
But did Mamata take that forward?
No, they went to
What
Mamata
she
wholesale.
instead did was
They moved to Mamata.
extremely polarized sort of regime there.
Okay, guys.
BJP now
the point I'm trying to make.
Varga movement forward.
No.
But Lalita Kumaramangalam on
BJP
this.
is not even in power. Bengal
Let me
was
just ask
nationalized.
Ram, just
This
one
vote
second.
was also for the centre.
Okay, just
not
one
the
second.
State. This is another thing we are
Implications
forgetting
of
to
these
say.
results on assembly elections that follow. Bengal is coming in a year and a half. Kerala in about 2 or 3.
Maharashtra, Haryana.
Maharashtra.
November.
But Maharashtra is a foregone conclusion.
Next year.
Haryana.
But let Ram answer.
Implications for.
Will there be a lot
I think
of.
it's too far away, and this may not have the kind of implications that the BJP is hoping for. I think it's now clear, particularly from Odisha and perhaps elsewhere, that there could be a divergence. And I think they will. She's not exhausted yet, Mamta, for all that she stands. That's my impression.
But in the sense, Ram, that first time I've heard people saying in Bengal that up to now religion and divisions have never been part of our politics. It's come in for the first time. Will that get exacerbated in the run-up to the assembly elections?
You remember after the demolition of the Babri Masjid, it was quite incendiary, and I think the Jyoti Basu government handled it extremely well, even about the BBC broadcasts and so on. So I think the other issue is the question of leadership from the left. Apart from the programs, I think you had organizers
very tall leaders.
and a chief minister who was really a national figure.
Right.
Yes.
Who was very tall. So I think that would also make a difference. It's a different historical era.
Nowhere near what Jyoti Basu was.
He made a good try, but I think Buddhadev was not Jyoti Basu. Yes.
We've got Pawan Verma of the JDU joining us now, and Rajiv Gowda of the Congress Party. Mr. Pawan Verma, to you first, congratulations. The JDU has done very well in Bihar today. Your first comments on how these results have panned out?
Look at the smile.
Smiling.
No, I think that the results have demonstrated very clearly that leadership is a very important value the Indian voter gives. You had the leadership that was projected by Narendra Modi. His detractors may or may not have liked it, but it was a clear-cut and decisive profile. As against it, I'm afraid the opposition had neither a leader, nor a program, nor a narrative. And it makes a big difference to the voter in a national election. Then, at the operational level, it was very clear that while the BJP was an electoral machine working away with according to a pre-decided program, on the other side, some of the alliances made or unmade or not made were inexplicable, if you ask me. And finally, there is over and above, as an overarching sentiment in this country, where we are one of the most troubled nuclear weapon areas of the world, there is a sentiment of nationalism, a feeling that you can repose trust in somebody to take care of your country's interests. So, apart from the overall picture, Nidhi, I am exceptionally happy about the results in Bihar. It's a clear sweep. We have made, we've got almost all the 40 seats with the exception of
Mr.
two.
Verma, you have in the
please remember that here the combination.
Sorry to interrupt, but you have in the past, also spoken out when you have felt that the BJP had crossed certain lines, and its leaders and even the Prime Minister, when it comes to issues of ultra-nationalism, polarizing issues, and that's something you yourself personally feel very strongly about. Are you concerned at all that will sort of get magnified, as Sudhindra Kulkarni thinks it will, in the next 5 years?
No, frankly, I think the BJP understands what were its weaknesses as manifested by certain statements and behavioral patterns of leaders or elements of the party. Now that it has a second term, I think we can only hope, and we are allies, and our council will also be with the BJP, and I'm sure together the actual meaning of the slogan Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas will become far more important, because we have a strong stand on issues of communal polarization. Just after the election, Mr. Nitish Kumar came out strongly against Pragya Singh Thakur for her statement on Nathuram Godse. So it's not as if we mince words, but within an alliance there is space for different voices. What we are celebrating today is that two parties or three parties that came together seamlessly on the basis of an organized effort have performed so well in Bihar. But our voice on issues that are of concern to us will always be felt and always be articulated without any ambivalence.
Pawan Verma, I just wanted to ask you about, is there a slight disappointment in your voice and your body language? You know, we look at body language these days in the sense that you're not needed that much anymore. This is a sweep. There was a time when they were a little dependent. Now you could speak out against Pragya, which congratulations you did, but they still needed you. But you still, that photo up between Nitish Kumar and Yogi Adityanath was, playing both sides of the same coin. So are you a little disappointed that you're not going to be needed much anymore? No bargaining power.
You know, just one night before, there was a dinner for the NDA allies.
Right.
And all the allies were treated with great respect. And I believe that the BJP, even with a majority on its own, were it to be the final result, understands that it has to carry its allies together. You know, coalition building, Prannoy, is a very serious matter.
Right.
The TDP walks out. You still need to have the image of a party that holds alliances together and if required needs them. So I would believe that it's not as if we have been marginalized in any way, but that with such a remarkable performance in Bihar of 16 seats as of now as per leads out of the 17 we were fighting, with the numbers we bring into the larger NDA fold, our voice and our opinion and our value will be enhanced and not completely sidelined.
Right.
Mr. Ram had a question for Pawan Verma.
About this coalition building, just to follow up on the questions just raised with you. You have a different program, a different worldview, if you like, as a party. And in a sense, you're working, two incompatibles are working together, given the BJP's commitment to Hindutva and polarization, whatever your judgment on that. And you have, from time to time, expressed your different take on these issues, Pragya being an extreme, but also on other issues. But you consider the JDU, and Mr. Nitish Kumar considers the JDU, I presume, as a secular party, which should belong to a secular formation, the way we understand secularism. When there is a fundamental difference on principles, how do you resolve that? How do you take it up? In other words, how principled a political party are you?
No, I think that on so many issues, Ram, for instance, I'll just name them for you.
Yeah.
On Article 370, on the Citizenship Amendment Bill, on the Uniform Civil Code, on the manner on which triple talaq was being brought in, on communally polarizing statements by some BJP leaders. On all of these issues, we have taken a consistent stand even within the NDA. I think one of the great myths of coalitions is, and I think this applies to coalitions across the spectrum, is to believe that all parties either subsume themselves or become identical in their opinion to the views of the largest party in its fullest plenitude. It does not happen like that. A coalition means, as Atal Bihari Vajpayee coined the phrase, and I mentioned it on your program a day or two ago, the word coalition dharma, where you listen with mutual respect to views which may not be identical with yours, but which you need to give respect to. So I think in that sense the JDU is a very valuable ally in the larger NDA setup, because we have maintained our position on all issues of national importance which we believe are important for the country without compromising it in any way, even as members of the NDA. And I think that enriches the NDA.
Thank you.
Right. Well, we have I just want to get Ghanshyam Tiwari in from the Samajwadi Party, and Ghanshyam, you must be very disappointed that the Gathbandhan hasn't taken off in UP the way that you expected it would.
Well, we believe that the election was fought in a very transparent manner. Everyone who watched the election in Uttar Pradesh, every observer saw that the cadres were united, the rallies that happened had all the people, the supporters of Mahagathbandhan had the conviction and were very vocal. So clearly this result, this outcome does not represent the picture that we have seen throughout the 7-phase election that played out in Uttar Pradesh. We still believe that as things have changed since the time these early trends started appearing, by the time it is evening, we still believe that there will be a better outcome for Mahagathbandhan. It will not be dramatically better, but it will still be better outcome from where it stands today.
I can just ask, but regardless of whether, of what happens, if the picture does stay the same, will this Gathbandhan stay for the assembly elections as well, or will there be a rethink?
No, absolutely the Gathbandhan is here to stay. We believe that this is a mandate that was a battle between Ugra Bharat and Udar Bharat, aggressive India and India that is generous, liberal. And in that we have always had the faith, belief on the people that the Udar Bharat will eventually be ahead, because that is what India is. We will see as the final outcome comes, but it would disappoint us if the numbers stay the way they are.
But what's gone wrong? Because the coming together of your parties worked for you in the by-elections in Phulpur, Gorakhpur. Why didn't it work on a bigger scale than in UP if it was just simply about coming together and the caste arithmetic?
Well, it's not just about that. It's about also the agenda that people would vote for. We see that Sadhi Pragya Thakur, for example, is leading in Bhopal. The person would go to the parliament where there is a photograph of Mahatma Gandhi, and she has openly said that she stands with Godse. So that is the reason I say that it's between Ugra Bharat and Udar Bharat. Maybe emotively that a large section of India was subsumed by the emotive issues of nationalism that BJP presented, of national security that BJP presented, and the issues of employment, the day-to-day betterment and social harmony were submerged in that flood. We do not know, but we still would believe, and that's the only way forward for us. We would believe that political parties must function or must work for changing the day-to-day lives of people, rather than making the electorate more and more aggressive on issues that does not matter to their day-to-day lives.
Okay, we have in fact pictures now coming in of Priyanka Gandhi Vadra going to the residence of Rahul Gandhi here in Delhi this morning. We haven't heard a word, of course, yet from the Congress president, and to be fair, the trends are still coming in, so we don't expect to hear anything until the picture is clearer than it is currently. Priyanka Gandhi, of course, appointed earlier this year as General Secretary in charge of Eastern UP, and there was a surprise when she ended up not just being in charge of Eastern UP, but also then campaigning across other states as well, and sort of taking charge of that campaign. We have Rajiv Gowda of the Congress Party also joining us this morning. Rajiv Gowda, how are you feeling?
Good morning. Feeling, there's a phrase, it's deja vu all over again, so that's pretty much what, I'm actually waiting for the day to unfold. I'm still hopeful that things will turn around, that these are still early trends, and let's see how the day unfolds.
Just Rajiv, hi, Srinivasan here. Just a question on your home state, Karnataka, where it looks like the BJP is sweeping. The alliance has not worked at all. In hindsight, was this alliance a complete mistake?
Not at all. Actually, the alliance government has been something that reflected the people's mandate in the assembly election, and together we had a majority. In many constituencies, we were able to work well together on the ground. And if you notice, if you look at the actual numbers that are coming in, there are lots of neck and neck fights, especially in southern Karnataka. So where the alliance, has come together to combat the BJP. I would think that it would have been so much better if our government had, from day one, projected a much better image of cohesion and of demonstrable governance and things like that. And unfortunately, we've seen certain amount of bickering and infighting, and that has not gone down well with the masses, from what I can see. So otherwise, in the last few Lok Sabha elections, the BJP has performed well in Karnataka, and this it seems like a bit of a repeat of that,
right,
with some more emphasis this time.
But your government is under threat in Karnataka, Rajiv Gowda. I mean, is this a matter of days before things could change there dramatically?
See, what I find really fascinating is how we can speak about a sort of democracy being derailed with such equanimity. Basically everywhere the BJP, whether it was Manipur or Goa or Arunachal Pradesh, they went ahead and disrupted democracy and democratic mandates. They did the same with Operation Kamala when Yediyurappa was Chief Minister some years ago. And here again, there is open offers of saying we're going to bribe so many people, we're going to lower MLAs to defect. The Prime Minister made such a statement in Bengal, and we are not condemning it. That's what shocks me.
No,
this is the worst kind of behavior in a democracy that the
it's
BJP
in trouble,
indulges
so you
in.
answered it.
And here we have a threat. We have a threat. Yes. We have a potential threat that is out there to the Karnataka government, and we're just sort of discussing it as, oh yeah, this is regular for the course, par for the course. Well, this is something we must condemn.
It's quite telling that you have accepted that that's happening. So we will watch to see how things unfold in Karnataka.
No.
Mr.
They've
Gowda,
been trying that from day one.
Sure. We have our reporters
They've been trying that from day one.
Now.
Remember, Yediyurappa formed a 3-day government, conniving with the governor, and that government fell. Well, they're going to try and do something like that. There have been attempts to lower MLAs. Their money power is enormous, and therefore they will try and look for ways to
thanks very much,
MLAs.
Mr. Gowda.
So far, we've helped,
hope to talk to you again when you get a better sense of the numbers and where they finally stand once more leads and results come in. Thanks for joining us.
I just wanted to point out one, again, Shekhar, reverse bump. This is a new theory you have to develop. Let's have a look at Telangana, what's happening. Remember, the TRS was 14 out of 17. And look what's happening in Telangana now. 8. Wow. BJP 6 and Congress 3.
Wow.
It's a complete change. Of course, this may still change, but which way is the bump going to happen now?
Well, I think the bump will still come one way or the other.
Yeah. One way or the other. But that is an amazing change.
And I won't be surprised if
How many rounds have been counted?
I think this is a bit
unusual. It'll still be early rounds. It'll still be early rounds.
Yeah.
Maybe
so maybe more urban or more mixed populations.
Yeah, but that is
or maybe in Telangana also people are making that distinction between centre and the state, the same as Odisha.
Baj has a point, and then
By
we
the
can
way,
go to our
in
reporters.
Odisha, it's switched as well. BJD is now leading in
the centre.
Lok Sabha.
Let's have a look at Odisha, but they were always very close. What is it now?
It was 10-11 earlier.
Yeah.
14-7.
Orissa, let's have a look at
BJP 14-7.
14-7. Oh, that's quite a big change. Yes.
Actually,
in fact, Jay Panda is trailing.
On our site, it's 19-7.
Yeah, Jay Panda is trailing, Sambit Patra is trailing.
Oh, no, 97, yeah, sorry. I beg your pardon. It can't be 97. Yeah. Sorry, take that back.
Yeah. Okay,
sorry,
so
it's updating.
We are going across to our reporters now. We have Harsha, who's at a counting centre in Jaipur. This morning, my colleague Alok Pandey joins us from the BJP office in Lucknow. And Mariam is with us from Bhubaneswar today. And Mariam, to you first, we were just talking about Orissa. We are seeing the numbers change there quite a bit. But if you can hear me, what's going on where you are?
Switch to someone else.
All right. I think we'll try and get back to Mariam in just a bit. Alok, you have some fair amount of activity behind you in Lucknow. That's where Rajnath Singh, of course, is also leading by a pretty good margin. But what's the bigger picture emerging from UP?
Well, I think the bigger picture that is emerging from UP as I stand here at the BJP office and watch some celebrations starting to kick in. I think the larger picture, of course, seems to be the fact that the BJP has done so well despite the Bahujan Samaj Party SP alliance in the state. Now, I think there could be two factors about it. One, I think it will be very interesting to see the Congress's vote share and vote percentage in these elections, and also look at whether the combined votes of the Congress and the BSP SP would have made an impact in the result, in the ultimate result. Of course, these are early leads, or at least middle level leads, and not the full result, but the trend seems to be that the BJP has done so well despite this entire Gathbandhan, despite the projection of Akhilesh Yadav and Mayawati, and the fact that they said that their caste equation was so good that they would manage to trump the BJP here. On NDTV.com, I see that the trend right now is 52 for the BJP and 26, half those seats for the BJP SP. The other aspect could be that the Prime Minister's campaign, or like everyone's been saying, it was a Modi election, and if this Modi factor was so predominant that it's transcended caste equations and brought them in favor of the BJP, and whether the BJP has managed to retain its voters from 2014, these are all interesting things that need to be looked at once we have the final results.
All right. Well, Harsha, going to you in Jaipur, that of course is a state the Congress won just a few months ago, and the BJP now seems to be sweeping it in the general election. The Congress, of course, also hit by so much infighting between the Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister that I believe that for the longest time they didn't really have their hopes high. They were hoping, they thought 7 seats would be great.
Yes, absolutely, Nidhi. Not very high hopes here by the Congress, and now it's not even 7 seats. And really, if you want to look at, I heard Prannoy talking about how a government which votes in one way in the state election may not vote in the same way in the center. For that, just let's look at Barmer. Let's look at Barmer as a case study. Manvendra Singh, son of Jaswant Singh, traditional BJP vote bank, goes across to the Congress. The caste arithmetic is all in his favor, and he's also trailing. And look at who he's trailing against. Someone like Kailash Chaudhary. I mean, nobody even knows Kailash Chaudhary. The last time I met him, I just knew him from his Modi jacket, and I think most of the voters knew him from the fact that he was wearing this jacket with Modi all over, faces of Modi all over his jacket, and he wore it right through the campaign. Kailash Chaudhary could not even win an assembly election. He lost the assembly election in December 2018, and he takes on Manvendra, and look at the fight he's giving Manvendra. So I mean, that really, if you look at Barmer, if you look at that, caste arithmetic gone all wrong. Someone like Manvendra, I mean, his father Jaswant Singh lost by only 90,000 votes in the last election, and look at it now. So really what you're saying is, how in one way they're voting one way in the state election, they're not voting the same way in the center. And of course, like you're saying, the self goals by the Congress. I mean, the Congress in the December 2018 elections could have probably got 20 more seats. Finally, they've got 12 independents who have allegiance to the Congress, who are now supporting them. So really, I mean, though Ashok Gehlot and Sachin Pilot went out together to campaign in every constituency, but still it's not paid off. I mean, Vaibhav Gehlot is trailing Gajendra Singh Shekhawat by 80,000 votes. So, sort of an interesting analysis. How much of it is the Modi factor, and how much of it is the equations not being absolutely perfect in the Congress in Rajasthan?
Right, Harsha, even when we went around at the assembly elections, a lot of people were saying we will vote Modi for Lok Sabha. They were making that distinction, and I think, as Ram was pointing out, the much more discerning voter now knows the difference between assembly and Lok Sabha much more than earlier. Didn't you find that they are distinguishing between the two very clearly?
Absolutely. We would go and do these chai pe charchas early in the morning with people. And I remember doing one chai pe charcha, and I said, if the Chief Minister is from Jodhpur and you have your MP from Jodhpur, doesn't it work in terms of development? And they said no. In 2018 December, it was an anti-incumbency vote against the Vasundhara Raje government. And now this is a central election. I remember in Bharatpur, the MLA from Bharatpur, who's also a minister, Vishwendra Singh, he went around telling people, if someone takes your bike away or you have any problems, you're going to have to come to me. Are you going to go to Narendra Modi? And I remember when I went out to do my piece to camera, people from the back saying, well, you know, we are going to vote BJP. So I said, but what about Vishwendra Singh? And they call him Maharaj there. They said, Maharaj ka election nahi hai, ye Modi ka election hai. So it was very apparent, on the ground, Prannoy. And like you said, in December 2018 also, the murmurs and in fact the talk had already started. The slogan was, Modi tujhse, Vasundhara teri khair nahi, Modi tujhse bair nahi.
So Harsha, everybody on this panel told me that this was going to be happening in Rajasthan. Did you know? Could you see it happening?
Always. Wrong back.
I did, Prannoy, and I did tell some people on your panel. I think I told you also.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, you must have. Thank you very much. We'll be coming back to you a little later. Exactly.
But you know one
thing. One thing nobody's talking about, EVMs. This
EVMs, yes.
Huh? What happened?
I told you the reason
for this whole thing. Not enough VVPAT.
Congress, EVM, all good.
Let's see what the VVPATs show.
So wherever the BJP has won, only those EVMs have been tweaked.
They won everywhere.
That's a lot of EVMs.
I want to say something. See, BJP was going to lose power or retain power. Yeah. They are. Exit poll said they might win this election. Yet it was only opposition who was guarding the strong rooms of EVMs, as if it doesn't matter to Bharatiya Janata Party. The question is why? Yes. Why should the party in power not worry about guarding the strong rooms?
Surely they were guarding also.
They were not.
That's a total fabrication.
No, I think you show me one story.
I know
where
enough
they were
of our
guarding
own party workers and booth
That's
ladies.
what I'm saying.
They were guarding.
I think
everywhere.
the sooner the Congress and my dear friends
sort of
party comes out of this EVM business, the better it would be.
The largest state for the left now is now Tamil Nadu.
Really?
The left. The largest state for the left, not for CPM. Tamil Nadu. 4 seats. Between CPI and CPM. Largest state. Yes. But they've got 4 seats.
Okay. Sorry, 1 second. We have Sam Daniel with us from Chennai. He has the DMK's Sarvanan joining him on the OB. Sam, over to you.
Thank you, Nidhi. That's right. I have DMK spokesperson here, Saravanan, outside MK Stalin's house. In a sense, it's a sweet and sour victory for the DMK. They are sweeping the Lok Sabha polls, but they're not able to win those 21 seats in the assembly by polls required to form the government. Neither are they able to help the Congress form the government at the center. Saravanan, thank you so much. Many would call it a sweet and sour victory.
No, we feel this is a very, very sweet victory in the sense that it has established that our leader, Mr. M.K. Stalin, is the undisputed leader in the state, and his hard work has paid. So many were doubting his abilities because he was not able to deliver a decisive victory. But now we have seen he has run a very, very hard campaign against the BJP and the ADMK combined, and he has come out winners.
The Congress is still unable to form the government at the center. Does it raise questions on Rahul Gandhi's leadership? 2 consecutive elections, he's unable to deliver.
See, it's for the Congress party to think about it.
It was Stalin who first proposed his name for PM.
That's what we were able to win it. See, we can bother only about the state of Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu, we swept. 37 is not an easy joke, Sam. And we have done that. We said Rahul Gandhi will be the Prime Minister. If North India behaves in a different way, it's not our lookout.
Coming to the by-elections, there was a great opportunity for the DMK to capture power. You're sweeping polls in Lok Sabha, but when it comes to the assembly elections, still you're running short.
Yeah, see, probably marginally we may run short. Right now we are leading in 13 seats. Probably it will go up, 2 or 3 seats it will go up. So we'll have to see how the other things turn out. We'll be just short of the majority mark in the assembly elections. So we'll have to see how things pan out in the next week.
In a sense, Tamil Nadu is one of the few states which has clearly sent a big no message for the BJP. What's the message politically being seen from the state?
See, from the state of Tamil Nadu, we say no to hatred. We say no to majoritarianism. We say yes to all-compassing growth, I think, which the BJP does not stand for. So that is the message. We promote love. We hate hatred.
Would you attribute this big victory for the DMK to the votes that TTV Dinakaran split from the AIADMK?
No, I don't think TTV Dinakaran factor has become irrelevant. I think he's just above everywhere. He's not even getting 1% of what we have polled or what the ADMK has polled. So that kind of a complaint or that kind of a criticism can never be made. This is a victory for the DMK, for our leader, Mr. M.K. Stalin.
Lastly, in some constituencies, MNM is coming number 3. Do you think they are emerging as a force to reckon with, at least for the upcoming assembly polls in the state?
See, in the state of Tamil Nadu, there are 10 to 15% of the voters who don't vote for ADMK or the DMK. They choose a third partner. Mr. Vijayakant was filling up that place. He is no more in the play. Therefore, Mr. Kamal Hassan is coming and filling that. So whatever they do, they may still, their votes should be pegged at 10%.
Do you think the DMK failed in a sense by not roping in PMK and DMDK, who are strong in the northern parts of Tamil Nadu, which has helped the AIADMK to retain power now?
No, I don't think so. I think what we have done, as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned, is perfect. What the leader has done is absolutely right. So there are no regrets.
Thank you so much for your time, Saravanan. First reaction from the DMK, we are coming from outside.
Sam, just don't let Saravanan go. Mr. Ram has a question for him. Go ahead.
Mr. Saravanan, and the assembly, how is it going in the assembly contest? It looks like it's quite even, isn't it, at the moment? In the
Ram is asking, how is it going in the assembly? Is it quite even?
No, assembly, that's what. We are just marginally ahead. We are right now ahead in 13 constituencies. They are ahead in 9 constituencies. So we hope that it will go up to 15. We may get up to 15 when the final results come. But so even the tally would be around 112, 113. So we'll have to see 3 MLAs have been disqualified. So we'll have to see. That's what the next week would be crucial for the state of Tamil Nadu.
Thank you.
Sam, is the DMK going to demand any... I have also a question. Is the DMK going to demand the dissolution of the assembly after these results, the sweep?
Prannoy, can you come again?
Sorry, has he gone? I just wanted to ask you, could you ask him a question? After sweeping the state in the Lok Sabha, are they the DMK going to demand dissolution of the assembly and the resignation of the AIADMK government?
Prannoy has a question for you. Now that you have swept polls, are you going to demand dissolution of the Tamil Nadu assembly or resignation of the EPS government?
See, that's what the leader will take a call, taking into the number of the seats we get in the assembly. So there is a resounding no to ADMK here and the BJP, which has propped up this ADMK government. So we'll have to see what the leadership decides, how does it go. But definitely there is going to be a change. But it's not going to be straight away. It's not going to be forthright. Probably in a week or so, we'll have to wait how things pan out.
Right.
Ram
just one second. Hold
Ram
on.
also has a question.
Sam, now look. Let's look at the numbers for the in the assembly. Out of a sanctioned strength of 234, the AIADMK, including the speaker, has 114 right now, and then there are the 3 MLAs he's mentioned. The speaker had served notice, and then but the Supreme Court has stayed that. We don't know how they'll vote. So the DMK would seem to need to win 21 out of the 22, right? Mr. Saravanan?
That's right, yes.
So
Mr. Ram is asking,
that's a big
how many
ask.
seats would DMK have to win to be able to form the government, especially in the bipoll? Is 21 out of 22?
Yeah, 21 out of 22. We are having 97. So if we win 21, we'd have 118. So straight away we can stick to form the government. If we are running short of few numbers, I think we'll have to see. Because it looks like we will get around 15 or 16 at the most. That is the most pragmatic numbers we can reach from now on.
Right.
All right, Sam, thanks so much for that. In fact, I think Mr. Saravanan is joining us again in a few minutes.
Yes,
do you have one
I want
question?
to make a quick point about Hyderabad, Telangana particularly, where this BJP remarkable 6 seats lead. So now we're getting some data on which are those seats. Those seats are all from the Hyderabad and surrounding areas. So Adilabad, Karimnagar, Nizamabad, Secunderabad, which is actually a BJP seat already, Hyderabad and Mahmudnagar. These are the seats, all contiguous. These are the 6 seats where the BJP is leading. One of the seats is Kavita's seat. The daughter of the Chief Minister, Nizamabad, K. Kavita, she's trailing in her own seat to the BJP.
And Owaisi is trailing in Hyderabad.
Yeah, Hyderabad again, BJP leading.
Wow.
Kavita had those 178 farmers against her. Those 178 farmers put up a candidate against her.
We have Mariam with us from Bhubaneswar finally. Mariam, What's going on where you are? I hope it's all working now.
The Owaisi trailing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I'm actually right outside the BJP office here, where there's quite a crowd that started swelling inside. They're all sitting and watching the trends come in, and there's a sense of celebration inside. Even though the Lok Sabha seat is it's advantage BJP according to leads right now, but they are celebrating the national picture in there, and it's a very charged up situation. But then unfortunately our network has been we're having some technical issues in there, but. Here it is, Odisha is proving to be a very interesting state, because this is, like we've discussed, a growth state for the BJP. They're hoping to pick up some seats here, and even the initial trends show that the BJP has a lead in quite a few seats, around 7 seats here in Odisha, and from the 1 seat that they won in 2014, that's a big lead for the Bharatiya Janata Party. We'll have to see how that works out. Now, the second part is also about the Naveen Patnaik government and the BJP government, whether they're still sticking to their equidistant stance, where they're not committed about reaching, supporting which side they would be supporting. We know the UP the opposition had reached out to Naveen Patnaik yesterday. How will that turn out? There has been a bigger battle here in Odisha. There have been words exchanged. There have been a very strong battle here. Now, after that, will they end up supporting the BJP at the centre, the NDTV government at the centre? That will be interesting to see as well. But I think it will all be clear only once the results are finally in.
Right, Mariam. As of now, Naveen Patnaik can continue to remain equidistant from both, because it doesn't matter at the moment. But Mariam, thanks so much for that. And before we take a break, we've just got pictures of the Prime Minister's mother, who of course lives in Gandhinagar. And if we could just play out those that's not her. If we could get those pictures up. Okay, so I think she is there somewhere. There's the footage, and Mr. Modi, of course, before any big event, does go to visit his mother.
And now
you
Amit
see the
Shah is going to be.
Yeah, and he's leading by more than 2 lakh votes, by the way,
Yes.
which is incredible in Gandhinagar.
Why is it incredible? Advantage to win by
No,
very
of course.
large
I mean, I'm just saying that. Yeah.
It's a huge margin.
Yeah, it's a huge
Interesting that
margin.
Amit Shah used to be a booth manager in Gandhinagar. It just shows you the
That's
kind of
the
mobility that the BJP
Just focusing on the mother for a moment.
Yeah. Mr. Modi, Vasu, does go to visit her before every
Yes, takes her blessings at every major occasion.
But she's already there, being congratulated there by supporters and being offered sweets. We will take a break on that note. We'll be back in exactly 60 seconds. Stay with us.
Wow.
Well, let's just have another quick look at the inside of Parliament. It's now really filling up. But just have a look with saffron. With that, we saw. Actually, we didn't start with the same shot again, can we? From Gandhi coming back. Okay, let's have a look what we've got right now. If we look at Parliament, the inside of Parliament, if we just switch to that as soon as we can. Here we go. We're also sitting in Parliament, in the Speaker's chair. Here we are, 327 BJP plus its allies. I'm not sure Nitish would like to be seen in saffron here, but he's one of them. And if we move to the other side a bit and see the fairly depleted other benches. By the way, this is an exact replica of Parliament, including the clock, including the little motifs. We'll go and focus on them when we have a little time.
But why aren't people there in the well of the house?
That's up to us.
The well is here. You can come and protest here.
At some point, we'd just like to see those little motives and what they mean. I don't know. You know what they mean.
And Prannoy, BJP now at roughly around 282, 281. So the color, the picture of Parliament going to look pretty much exactly like last time.
Almost a replica. Quite true, quite true. Yeah.
Isn't this an even bigger victory for Narendra Modi than 2014? Because there he was the challenger and he had the benefit of the anti-incumbency of the 2 terms of the UPA.
And this time,
it's him and his record, and the voters have given him a big thumbs up. So this is really his victory all the way, and bigger even than 2014.
In fact,
and actually, sorry. No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that we have these key personalities, you know,
Yeah,
how they're
go
doing.
through those?
Some of those, you have Atishi.
Well, after that, I'll talk about another key personality.
Atishi, by all accounts, you know, a terrific person. She's done so much for education in Delhi, but she's trailing from Delhi. In fact, the BJP is leading, I think, in all 7 seats in Delhi. That was something that was widely expected, but you know, that's as far as this seat is concerned.
Gautam Gambhir MP.
Yeah, Gautam Gambhir MP, probably.
Who would have thought?
Pragya Singh Thakur as well.
Could we
Pragya
get
Singh
the other
Thakur
graphics?
MP.
So can I take the point forward? You said that it's a bigger victory for Narendra Modi
For
because
him, for Modi
as
himself.
an incumbent he is won. First of all, if you look at our country's political history, if an incumbent is seen to have done well, the second term gets him better numbers, him or her. So, and that's where my trick question comes. UPA 2 got much better numbers than UPA 1. If this is credit to Narendra Modi, who was that credited to?
Manmohan Singh.
Okay, so before we go on to that analysis, just coming back to the personalities for just a moment, Kiran Kher is leading in Chandigarh. She is the MP from Chandigarh already. So Kiran Kher, by the way, who faced a lot of infighting in the BJP in Chandigarh, is leading from there, and not surprisingly, of course, Amit Shah in Gujarat, it's a lead of some 2.5 lakhs, and L.K. Advani was booted out of that seat, wasn't happy about it, but Amit Shah could very well be the country's next home minister if all the buzz is to be believed. Looking at some of the other key leads that we're getting, as we wait for that graphic to change. Mehbooba Mufti of the PDP is at number 3 actually. From the Anantnag Parliament seat, from which she has been an MP before.
So she's actually at number 3.
She's at number 3
Is
right now.
that a surprise?
That is a
surprise.
I mean, I don't think she was expected to do very well, but number 3 is quite a setback. Also, not surprisingly, the BJP leading in Udhampur in Jammu and Kashmir. Anant Kumar Hegde Vasu, we've seen the kind of sort of hate speeches he's given regularly, and he's leading in Karnataka. Mr. Devegowda is trailing. Vasu, what do you make of that?
Well, I mean, in some ways it's not surprising because frankly, if you look at just overall what has happened to the JDS in Karnataka, you just have too many members of the Gowda family fighting. You have the chief minister, you have Mr. Devegowda, now you have the sons fighting, the wife contesting. And by the way, Tumkur is not, this is going slightly out of their stronghold area. So
Shatrughan Sinha is trailing from Patna Sahib. He joined the Congress, of course, on the eve of this election. So Ravi Shankar Prasad there clearly in the lead in that particular seat. Shatrughan Sinha's wife, of course, became the SP candidate from Lucknow to take on Rajnath Singh. Pappu Yadav of the RJD not doing well in Madhepura. In fact, the RJD not doing very well at all.
You got one seat.
Yeah, exactly.
Really
One seat.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think so, because there's so much infighting in the RJD.
Well, so these are some of the leads from Haryana. If we can move on to some of the other states as well. Bhupender Singh Hooda is trailing his son. Dipinder Hooda was actually leading from Rohtak earlier. I don't know if that's still the case. Digvijay Singh, now this is the big story from Bhopal. Pragya Singh Thakur on trial with terror-related charges is leading in Bhopal.
But you know, it has to be borne in mind that Bhopal is a BJP bastion.
It is.
Bastion,
It is.
yeah.
30-year long bastion. So the lead really or the advantage is, I suspect, much more to do with BJP Modi than Pragya Singh
But
Thakur.
what about the wisdom of the Indian voter? At some point they should say bastions.
I can't agree with you more.
Voters have had that wisdom.
Acha.
You can't change your people.
On that point of a much bigger victory
Unless you live in Karnataka.
bigger victory for Mr. Modi. This was also an election where constituency after constituency, BJP and Mr. Modi himself said that don't look at the candidate, look at me. So clearly, at least in 2014, there were candidates who stood up for their own political capital and Mr. Modi's political capital added to it. Over here, the big faces that are losing as well as the faces that are winning are creating a spectre of a voiceless parliament in my view.
And Ashok Chavan actually, that's not surprising because he didn't want to contest, and he was actually trying to get his wife in their seat. Finally, the Congress High Command had to read out the riot act to him, made him contest at the last minute.
And he's trailing.
And this is what
and then you have Urmila Matondkar. She ran quite an interesting campaign, Vasu. I mean, she was feisty. She was very articulate. Obviously, it wasn't enough. She's trailing there. Was that an odd choice of candidate?
She is symptomatic of how the Congress has behaved in this entire election. You parachute in candidates, you parachute in leaders at the last minute. Milind Deora, who's the state Congress, president of the Mumbai Congress, came in at the very last minute.
2 weeks before
the election. Sanjay Nirupam
Milind
sacked,
is
he
trailing.
comes in.
That's interesting. Milind Deora is trailing from Mumbai
All
South.
the Bombay seats.
I'm not surprised.
Despite
Mukesh
Ambani's support.
Despite Mukesh Ambani's support, that's true.
Even if the margin comes to 2 Sanjay Nirupam was
one at a time, please. Yeah.
Against Gopal Shetty.
Well, this is what I'm sorry. Poonam Mahajan leading. Well, that's against Priya Dutt.
Again, who came in at the very last minute?
Again came and was reluctant. She didn't want. She said, "I'm not going to contest." She said, "I'm not going to contest." Yeah, she didn't want
exactly.
Yeah. That as far as those Mumbai seats are concerned.
Don't matter as far as the BJP is concerned. I don't think the candidates mattered as far as the Congress is concerned. This is a vote for Modi.
Supriya Sule is leading
it's
from
a vote
Baramati.
for Modi, so it doesn't really
she
matter
was facing
who
a tough
Congress
contest
put
in
up.
Baramati. It was a tough fight in Baramati. So at the moment
They
she
could have
is.
at least put up candidates who gave a
be
tougher
happy with
fight.
that.
Yeah, she would be happy.
Not those who didn't want to stand.
That could have been an upset. Yes, that there could have been an upset. Mr. Shinde, who has represented Sholapur, it's his stronghold. He's trailing from there.
Ashok Chavan and
both Nanded and Sholapur.
These strong Congress veterans trailing.
If we can move on to some of the other seats, any from Bengal or any of the other states?
There are Bengalis on stage. More.
So meanwhile,
Chandan Mitra of the TMC is with us here. Mr. Mitra,
Yes.
Are you shell shocked?
I am quite shell-shocked, I must admit. I did not expect this kind of BJP resurgence that we are seeing in Bengal. It was virtually non-existent till the last election, and despite the strong presence of Trinamool Congress on the ground, how the BJP has managed to overcome all these obstacles, it is very creditable for the BJP, of course, but it is definitely very surprising. And it marks a complete cracking of the mold, so to speak, in Bengal, and BJP has become not just a runner-up, but I think the challenger and the government in waiting at this rate.
Well, I mean, Moon Sen of bed tea fame is trailing Babul Supriyo in Asansol.
She better wake up and spell the tea.
I hope they gave her a bed tea on time this morning.
But sorry, Chandan said a very important thing. He's saying
they might even fall.
They might be the government in waiting.
Yes.
What do you mean
in
by
West
that?
Bengal?
If this is the trend, I wouldn't be surprised.
What do you mean by that? Chandan?
Could be. Would you moving back?
Next assembly election.
No, one second.
You want me to be permanently in the opposition?
Minister Bengal.
No, but are you saying that in the assembly elections, which are still some time
the
away?
trend, the way they have jumped from in the last two elections is very significant, and when Bengal swings, it like what used to be in Tamil Nadu, it swings just one way. So Trinamool, it was a Trinamool wave that I think is taking place, was taking place till recently, and this time it has swung back to the BJP, the same way the CPM used to kind of sway one way, and Trinamool was not in the picture. Then CPM was wiped out, Trinamool became the principal party, and now BJP is coming up.
Chandan, if you were to identify one big mistake you think that your party made, what would that be?
You're talking about Trinamool?
Yes. Well, I hope.
That said everything. Your latest party. Your latest party.
I think
Freudian slip.
Well, maybe it's not a Freudian slip.
He says,
maybe not.
He says that is the biggest mistake Trinamool Congress made. Taking him.
No, I think that there was any mistake. There was a, I think currently there's a trend and a kind of move for a change. You know, people feel that let us now experiment. BJP we haven't seen. We've seen the Congress, we've seen the CPM, we've seen Trinamool. Let's try out the Congress. I mean,
the BJP.
BJP.
Congress for 40 years, Chandan.
Sorry?
They haven't seen the Congress for 40 years.
40 years, but who remembers 40 years ago?
That's right. So they also knew like the BJP, but they're slipping.
But Congress does not have it in them.
Okay, I just want to go across to Sonal Mehrotra, who is at the Samajwadi Party office in Lucknow at this time. And Sonal, what's going on there? I mean, is there any word at all about when Akhilesh Yadav may come out and speak? I'm sure it will be much later in the day.
Well, Nidhi, I wish I could go inside and show you how dull, gloomy and absolutely boring, if I can call it that, the SP office is at the moment. But I can't do that because now they've shut the main gates as well. And they're saying no media will be allowed inside because they're risking, they don't want to put the risk that we'll go inside and capture all the empty chairs and perhaps it'll, bring down sentiments further. If you could add. But I did catch up with Akhilesh Yadav yesterday when he came to the party office. It was briefly... But he did say this. He met up with a few hundred party volunteers and workers who had come. He addressed them. There was a meeting. And when he stepped out, I asked him, what did you tell them? And he said, well, I was telling them to prep up for 2022. And his words right now just ringing in my ears since the time the trends have been coming in, frankly. But at this point, we were earlier told by his office that around 11 o'clock, if all goes well, he would be speaking. Clearly, that's not going to happen. They've now shut the party headquarters gates as well at the moment. So we're expecting both the BSP and SP to come out with a press release a little later. At the moment, there's no such talks about that. We'd also earlier heard that had the results gone their way, they would have travelled to Delhi. All of that now put on hold. But I just want to highlight a few things that I'm hearing from a lot of workers over here who came in early morning but now have all gone back home. They were raising a few very pertinent questions. Now, this consecutive loss of a Gathbandhan for the Samajwadi Party, one which did not work with the Congress earlier, now with the BSP as well, is now making us ask very relevant questions. Number one, did the vote transfer of SP and BSP did not happen? Second, did the Modi wave become so big that they were just not able to, arithmetic was not enough to get them together? Thirdly, was Congress a factor in dividing votes? And fourthly, was Congress division of votes and the fact that the vote transfer did not happen combined lead to this entire debacle? We can perhaps wait for the detailed results and the vote share to come out to answer these questions. But perhaps something else also which will be looming on the minds of these leaders right now in Lucknow is the relevance of it all. What is the relevance of BSP at this point when they're looking at such a big debacle? Now, remember, until yesterday, Mayawati was pitching to becoming the Prime Minister. Today, what is she going to do?
That backfired quickly. That backfired very quickly. Well, yeah. Sonal, thanks for that. In fact, Ghanshyam Tiwari, are you a little concerned actually that from your point of view, that compared to the BSP has actually done better than you in whatever little success you've had in UP or moderate success? They're doing better than you.
Well, at no point this alliance was about a competition between SP and BSP. Throughout the alliance, throughout the election, the alliance stood on equal grounds and presented equal agendas for both SP and BSP voters and supporters. So I don't think that this result has to be looked at competitive aspects between SP and BSP. This result would further means that the alliance will stay, will further solidify and would take a shot at 2022 to change the course of politics in Uttar Pradesh.
With or without the Congress?
Well, that is a very, very long guess, in my opinion. But I think clearly, as this election tells, that we have to first focus on our home grounds, on our strengths. For example, in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, Congress would focus more on those states. We have to focus on Uttar Pradesh and ensure that the public support that was visible to everybody eventually translates into a verdict that counts.
But Ghanshyam, at the end of the day, apart from your individual focus on Uttar Pradesh, wasn't one of the problems of the Gathbandhan that you just in totality represented a very confused, fragmented group as a choice for voters all over the country? And Mr. Modi was using this in his speech all the time. He would say, Prime Minister, Monday ko Mayawati banegi, Tuesday ko Mamata banegi, Wednesday ko Sharad Pawar banenge, Thursday ko Deve Gowda banenge, Friday ko kaun banenge, pata nahi.
Well, there are many stories that emerge out of a success story, right? And a failure has to be analyzed in many aspects. We've been there before in 2017. But we believe that the Gathbandhan presented a very, very comprehensive agenda to people of Uttar Pradesh. It presented the failure of Yogi government completely. It presented the disharmony that has been created, and it presented the backdrop of work done by Akhilesh Yadav.
But this was a national election. This may be effective in a state election. At a national level, this entire coalition of anti-Modi forces just appeared.
That was the first point I made.
That
was the first point I made. That primarily it's an election between Udar Bharat and Ugra Bharat. For the Ugra Bharat, the big hyperbolic issues would matter, that how do you respond to Pakistan, national security, alongside people like Sadhvi Pragya will become torchbearer of national security as well, Godse versus Gandhi. For the Udar Bharat, the day-to-day lives would matter. As a regional party, our focus would always remain with the day-to-day lives of people, because the core constituency, of our vote base is extremely marginalized and poor.
See, according to you, with all due respect to you,
well, clearly it's not about Congress. I'm saying that, think about it, right? Sadhvi Pragya taking oath in Parliament, with a constitution that she doesn't believe in front of a father of nation she doesn't believe in, and celebrating a man who killed father of the nation. Yeah. There cannot be a terrible day, more terrible day for Indian democracy than Sadhvi Pragya standing in Parliament. It's a mockery on all of us. Verdict does not.
Can I please come in here? Can I come in here?
One second, Lalita Kumar. By the way, don't call her Sadhvi. She's not.
I'm
Lalita
not saying
Kumar.
anything
No,
about
not
her.
you.
I just think that it's very clear which way the election has gone. We need to give credit to the voters of this country. They have chosen, regardless of whether we say they're right or wrong with regard to individuals or to the party. The fact is that ours is a democracy, and you have to respect the verdict. Whoever wins. I can understand the sentiment of those who are not from the BJP and the side of the BJP, but the fact also is that the opposition that we face.
Okay, the picture in Madhya Pradesh has actually dramatically changed.
So we go back to Madhya Pradesh. What a major change.
Oh my God.
Wow, look at that. 28-1. Ram, talk about landslides.
That is so bizarre.
You put up a very interesting graphic just earlier on vote shares.
No, but that's too early. It's just too early.
Rise.
No. That comes much later. Don't go in for that yet.
Okay,
let me just put it up on your screen.
What would this have done to the BJP's own numbers? This will be worth seeing.
You see up there?
It's 332.
That's the
BJP on its own.
I just want to see
the overall BJP numbers.
Not NDA, just only
Okay,
BJP.
just showing it here. Here it comes.
I have a point to make on the
BJP coming up over all India, right? 281.
The discussion that we were having on Uttar Pradesh, I think is significant. I'd like to make a point on that. You know, in the past, it's always been that Mayawati's votes have been transferred whenever she has had an alliance. But
281.
It's the other party's vote which has not been not transferred. So that's why Mayawati had said earlier that she'll never make a pre-poll alliance, and usually she did not. Now this time, if it is true that Mayawati's votes did not get transferred, and therefore they were not really a Gathbandhan, where did those votes go?
I wouldn't assume that. That again is conventional wisdom. You know, that really needs to look at the data, and we've not yet found any evidence that the votes don't transfer. They do transfer.
Can I just
both
finish
sides.
what I was saying?
A lot of people say hers transfers, but SP doesn't. It's not true. Even SP does.
One moment, Lalita
I mean,
Kumar.
historically, I don't know about this particular.
Let's see the data.
Yeah, this one we'll see.
Yeah.
See, I'd just like to say that the picture presented by the opposition, even together, was so in bits and pieces. Fractured is the word being used. Who were they actually going to vote for at the centre is something that the voters had to decide. Regardless of what happened in Odisha or Tamil Nadu or Rajasthan or Madhya Pradesh or UP or whatever it is, wherever the opposition is supposed to have had, whether it's a Mahagathbandhan or an alliance, did they really work together throughout the election? They didn't. Whereas the BJP and its allies, the NDA made sure that whatever were our differences in the past, and there were differences, I've said this before, we buried them because we knew that we had to come back to power. And this is what the opposition failed to do, and the Congress, I think, is largely to blame for this, because they really didn't know what they wanted to do, defeat the BJP or protect their own interests in the various states.
I think that's a very good analysis,
That's true.
And this is what is played out state after state, including in Tamil Nadu. Just look at it, my state of Tamil Nadu. So the DMK made sure.
Your state of Bengal.
Both.
Baj wanted to make a point.
I just want to make the point. I don't think either of these two parties tried very hard to win this election. I mean, if you look at where we were in Varanasi on the last day of campaigning.
Which
on
two
the
parties?
SP and Bsp. They had one rally at 1 o'clock and then both of them went home. Compared to Mr. Modi, who on that day did 4 rallies. I mean, there's no comparison. Whether it's done across the state, I think she must have done 10 rallies, 12 rallies.
But Baj,
Mayawati.
that's the style. That was just Mayawati.
20 joint rallies.
But
20
that was just
compared to how many did Mr. Modi do there?
No, but just to clarify, Akhilesh did the joint rallies, but also did his own campaigning. Mayawati only did just the joint rallies. She didn't campaign individually.
And that's her normal style, actually.
Which is her style. She does limited number of
But you see, Baj is a football fanatic, and they always say a team that wins is the one that wants to win more. And I think you made that point during our travels that the other side, non-BJP, didn't seem to want to win as much as the BJP.
No, they're on the 1st of June. You and
I don't.
But let me ask you, Shekhar.
I'll call you once I'm done here.
Now we're talking about 335 for the BJP. It's almost a replica of the last election. 335 compared to 336, and BJP almost 282 again. With these sort of figures and coming around second time, as I think Sagrika was saying, it's a huge victory. It's almost bigger than last time, even though the numbers may be the same. So a whole lot of new allies are going to flock to them, happily. Like, can you list them? YSRC?
I think let's start with DMK. What if the DMK flips?
Ram, would you think the DMK will...
But why would they not want to flip? They can get the state.
DMK will have no incentive to flip.
But they don't need allies.
No, I'm just...
Because what will they get out of it?
I'm not DMK, don't ask me, but I'm saying from the DMK's point of view...
No, but DMK has
they could get the state.
DMK has to look ahead at the next assembly elections.
And needs the Congress in Tamil Nadu much more than it would need the BJP.
Yeah, okay, but Ram, YSRC would flip? I mean, would support them?
I think there's no incentive. Now they can get more out of staying. Yeah. If they had needed, they would have.
But you know, to be on good terms, get us special status.
Can I just mention one party that is likely to extend support would be Naveen Patnaik.
Yes.
Because they have not supported a central government now for almost the past 15 years. They've just had a cyclone there. Yeah. They need money. And it's one party which has actually put in its manifesto that we will support anybody at the centre who will give us a package for Orissa.
Right. Fundamental logic to this. Any party that does not depend on the Muslim vote can support the BJP.
Any part. Well, we have Mr. Deshratan Nigam of the RSS with us. And Mr. Nigam, we saw the NDA meeting just on the eve of counting where all the NDA leaders coming to facilitate Mr. Modi. Even though this looks like it's almost an identical outcome from last time, do you think the BJP will be kinder to its allies?
You know, if you recall on your own show, I have said BJP with absolute majority will give a strong core. Then there are NDA allies, and BJP would make it more representative for the entire country.
They weren't entirely happy the first time round. So I'm asking whether there would be a change in approach.
No, it's not about being happy. It's not about being happy. It's about the representative character of the government. South, they are weak.
No, will there be more NDA meetings? The Akali Dal was on our program the other night saying there were 2 NDA meetings in 5 years.
No, it's their internal problem. They can have as many meetings as possible.
It's not their problem. It's a fact.
They can have
NDA meetings happen
but I'm talking on the larger principle. Larger principle is that you should have more representatives in the central government. South being underrepresented in BJP, so therefore there's a likelihood of some of the southern parties moving towards BJP and helping them out in the administration of the country.
I just want to ask, we haven't talked about the role of Amit Shah. Obviously, his profile has gone up hugely after this election because
we did discuss when the assembly elections were taking place, if you recall.
So yes, I do remember that. And does it... what do you see for him now? Is he going to be Home Minister, Deputy Prime Minister? Looking ahead, Amit Shah's new role in Indian politics.
See, for the time being, I think he'll still be in the party. But if I stretch my imagination, Home Ministership is a possibility.
And then Rajnath Singh?
Party president.
Well, there are other posts also, and then he can be given larger responsibilities as well.
Should we draw up a cabinet list?
Cabinet a larger responsibility than Home Minister.
You have to ask the BJP spokesperson.
I'm
That's
asking
the
you
worst answer.
As an intellectual, you should think aloud.
I mean, for the first time, somebody called me an intellectual. Thank you for
that. That's the reason you are here. You are not here as a BJP
Could
person.
be party president. That's, I mean, that's the speculation.
See, the fact is BJP,
or speaker.
The party president post keeps on going to new person always. Rajnath Singh has been already the president.
So speaker?
So
but people have had
well, we can speculate. I mean, as you're saying, that's a good speculation, Anidhi.
Speaker. And Amit Shah as Deputy Prime Minister, what was going on?
I don't know because I have not applied my mind, nor my imagination is stretching that far.
Okay, just a quick news update. Amit Shah is going to be at the BJP office at 2 o'clock, so we can
let me
expect
commend
him
Amit Shah for his
to make his first
organizational
comments at 2 o'clock. The Prime Minister is going to be reaching the party headquarters at 5, and at 5:30 the BJP's parliamentary board will meet. And if the past is anything to go by, it would be quite a big welcome for Mr. Modi. He will speak to the party workers there, and that would be his first, I think, official reaction to these elections. We have Shruti Menon joining us from Hyderabad as well at this hour. Shruti, what's going on where you are?
It's the big story, actually.
Thanks, Nidhi. So we are right now here at Owaisi's, near Owaisi's house, where he said that he will not speak to the media. He is leading from his seat, but he seems to be disappointed with the overall results. And so far, he is very reluctant about speaking to the media. Now, early in the morning, we were at the TRS party office. And of course, when the trend started coming in the favor of the party, everybody started celebrating early on. But just before we left the party office had a deserted look. People had stopped dancing. The people who were brought in, the Lambadi folk dancers who were brought in for celebrations of TRS win had stopped celebrating, and people, in fact, all the party leaders, all the party workers have left the party, the TRS party house, the Telangana Bhavan there. In fact, we also visited the BJP headquarters here in Hyderabad, and even that surprisingly wore a deserted look. And people there, the party workers there, told us that the biggest gain for them, though the leads are in favor of the BJP, they have not yet started celebrating the Nizamabad seat. Now, the biggest gain for them will be the Nizamabad seat, from where KCR's daughter, the Chief Minister's daughter, K. Kavita, is recontesting. In fact, she was the sitting MP from there. And of course, the backstory is that nearly 180 farmers had filed nominations against her. There are about 185 candidates from that constituency, and the BJP candidate from there is leading right now. But what we can say is that the margins between Kavita and the BJP candidate are significantly reducing. Early on, they were at 52 versus 36. Now they're at 48 versus 34. So the margins seem to be reducing. But the biggest shock and setback for TRS is going to be the Nizamabad seat if they lose. As of now, TRS has, the party workers have stopped celebrating. KTR was expected to come, the working president of the TRS and the son of the Chief Minister. But then again, plans have changed after the leads have started showing in favor of the BJP. 4 seats, in 4 of the 17 seats, BJP is leading, and that, of course,
actually 6 now.
Seems like quite a setback for the TRS.
And Vasu, what explains that?
I just had a thought.
Right.
I just had a thought about this. KCR preponed the assembly elections.
Smartest
Maybe
thing
he
ever
sent something. Maybe he sent something.
That better not to have it with Lok Sabha.
But no pollster got this trend, though I must commend the India Today poll for sticking their neck out at 350 and now 338, and it's creeping up. Shaker's bump. That was quite a good call, but nobody really got this 7-6 in Telangana.
If you see the regions also, I mean, I have a theory on this. I won't voice it right now.
But if
that particular region.
But then if you look at the Telangana assembly elections,
BJP came third.
BJP was a tactical move at that point of time. BJP could have gained some seats, but ensured, that's my reading, to help TRS have a landslide win out there. And that is paying right now.
The big other change is Madhya Pradesh. If you can have a look at that, Madhya Pradesh, the Congress was getting about 6, 7, 8 seats out of 29. Now look at what's happening there. It's become the biggest sweep for the BJP among all the states, or as big as any other state.
Wow.
28-1 now.
It's Kamal Nath seats.
With even Sindhya losing,
yeah.
with even Sindhya trailing, which is
That
a
only
really,
must be
really
Chhindwara.
Huge.
One must be Chhindwara.
Oh, yeah. No, and very surprising because, you know, in the assembly elections, the Congress actually swept that Gwalior Chambal region. So, you know, I mean, it's very surprising that in a Lok Sabha poll, Jyotiraditya Scindia should be losing.
So only 3 states around.
Jyotiraditya was sent off to UP.
Lalita, so there are only 3 states that the BJP has not made inroads. Tamil Nadu, Andhra and Kerala. And Punjab.
And Punjab.
4 states. And J&K, 5 states.
Tamil Nadu, it was expected that we would not do very well. We didn't.
But otherwise, every state, and that's a bigger spread than the last election.
So we need to give credit, really give credit to Mr. Amit Shah's organizational
The
ability.
BJP is almost won everywhere it's contested.
Yes.
It's won 400. It contested 437 seats. It's
won 381.
Won 381. So it's almost won all the seats.
Also, look at the destiny. We can't call it a Hindi heartland party anymore.
Look at the
Because
vote
it
share.
has a
You have to
much
keep an
larger
eye on the
footprint.
vote share.
The East, Bengal and Odisha have changed all that.
East, but also Prannoy,
What
Andhra,
about
Telangana.
Telangana.
So far in the south, it was only Karnataka.
Yeah, that is a huge,
but now
hugely
Telangana,
significant.
That's huge. So
Prannoy,
it's just Tamil Nadu and Kerala.
The decimation of the RJD. I mean, that's another story here.
Look at the
Which
vote
one?
share.
The decimation of the RJD. Lalu Yadav not there on the campaign. Shekhar, I mean, what does it say about Tejasvi Yadav? That everyone sort of hailed as a new leader in Bihar, Shekhar Gupta?
I don't know, because somebody has to rethink Bihar's caste combinations now. See, Gujarat, for a long time that Kham combination worked. Then BJP came and breached it. And BJP's rivals have not yet been able to find an answer, although the biggest success of the Congress and Rahul Gandhi in these 5 years was not MP Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh. It was how close they ran Modi in Gujarat. Because if they had done a few things right, if NCP had joined hands with them, they could have completely broken his momentum. So it tells you that when one combination breaks, you have to find other combinations. And in Gujarat, other combinations were found. So there were Patels, there were the Dalits through Jignesh Mevani, there was Alpesh Thakur for the Thakur community who are OBCs in Gujarat. So you have to, the same formula does not work forever because other people break your code.
I think the big takeaway from Bihar was amazing alliance negotiations done by the BJP. They won 22 seats in Bihar last time. They agreed to contest only 17 in order to form an alliance. Now that is beyond the imagination of opposition parties, especially the Congress, that they will give away seats they hold.
Congress in UP initially started saying, at least we are making a big concession, at least give us the 21 that we won in 2009.
2009.
Sudhindra Kulkarni had a point to make.
So it just goes to show that both in two crucial states, Bihar and Maharashtra, the BJP understood the importance of alliance making pretty early in the game.
Yes.
They came down in Bihar, and for 4.5 years, the Shiv Sena was the main opposition party in the state government. And yet, they stitched up an alliance.
Just took all the abuse.
In contrast, the Congress in Delhi here, in Haryana, and also in Uttar Pradesh. So, three
such
very
a contrast,
Well, we
they
have Mr.
simply
KC
were
Tyagi.
unable to come down. Even their potential allies refused to ally with them, and they are paying the price.
We have Mr. KC Tyagi of the
Forgive and
JDU
forget.
as well, who's joining us.
Also, just to tell you, Nidhi, as you go to KC Tyagi, as you go to KC Tyagi, the BJP is now inching closer to 300. They're somewhere between 294, 295.
Wow.
Okay. That's really quite something. In fact, Tyagi ji,
That's
thank
bullseye
you.
for India Today poll.
Yeah, absolutely. त्यागी जी, थैंक यू फॉर जॉइनिंग अस. मिठाई बांट रहे आप त्यागी जी?
हम प्रसन्न हैं, मिठाई तो नहीं बांट रहे हैं अभी.
बांट लीजिए. आप बताइए कि what is, I mean, your first thoughts on these results and the fact that the BJP looks like it may actually get a bigger majority than last time if these leads hold.
देखिए, मैं 2 दिन पहले शेखर गुप्ता का मैंने आर्टिकल पढ़ा है, मैं उसी से शुरू करता हूं कि जब ये जाते थे गांव में, शहर में, पूछते थे लोगों से, हूं इफ नॉट मोदी देन हु, तो गांव के लोग उल्टे इन्हीं से सवाल करते थे कि मोदी को वोट नहीं हुए तो किसको दे. पूरे चुनाव में ना तो कोई अल्टरनेटिव था, ना कोई गठबंधन था, ना कोई नेता था, और जो कल मीटिंग हुई है उसके सारे नेता एक दूसरे के खिलाफ चुनाव लड़ रहे थे. एंड आई एम सॉरी फॉर कांग्रेस, ये रिवाइवल के लिए चुनाव लड़ रही थी, ये सर्वाइवल के लिए चुनाव नहीं लड़ रही थी. अगर सर्वाइवल के लिए चुनाव लड़ते तो उत्तर प्रदेश में 10 सीटें सपा बसपा इनको देने को तैयार थी, लेकिन उसके लिए वे तैयार नहीं थे. और मध्य प्रदेश, राजस्थान, छत्तीसगढ़ में सपा बसपा ने जब विधानसभा के चुनाव में इनसे सीटें मांगी तो इन्होंने एक भी सीट देने के लिए तैयार नहीं हुए. जहां तक बिहार की बात है तो एक तो लालू प्रसाद जी की गैरहाजिरी में, इन हिज एब्सेंस, वहां टोटल अनार्की थी. परिवार के अंदर इनफाइटिंग थी. इट वाज मीसा वर्सेस तेजस्वी वर्सेस तेज प्रताप, और एक दूसरे के खिलाफ कैंपेन कर रहे थे. पूरी पार्टी कोहेसिव नहीं थी. जो बड़े नेता है रघुवंश बाबू, वो कुछ और बोलते थे, तेजस्वी कुछ और बोलते थे. और आखिरी दिन तक भी जो फ्रेंडली पार्टीज हैं, जो अलायंस के पार्टनर हैं, उनमें कोई समझौता नहीं हो पाया. मैं आज भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अध्यक्ष को भी मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं कि हमारी पिछली बार 2 सीटें थी, उन्होंने अपने 5 सिटिंग एमपीज के टिकट काट करके दिए, और हम 17 में से आज 16 सीटें जीत रहे हैं. ये जेनरसिटी, ये बड़ा दिल, ये बड़ापन, माफ करना, कांग्रेस पार्टी के नेताओं में अगर हुआ होता तो ऐसा बुरा दिन उनको आज देखने के लिए नहीं मिलता. इसलिए वहां पर बिहार में अगले साल विधानसभा का चुनाव भी होना है, और हम 200 से ज्यादा विधानसभा की सीटों पर लीड लिए हुए हैं. ये नीतीश कुमार जी की 4थी पारी शुरू होगी, तो जो वहां पे जो काम हुआ है, शेखर गुप्ता भी और प्रणव राय भी हर साल जाते हैं चुनाव में, कैसी सड़कें. एक बार मैं प्रमोद महाजन के साथ कैंपेन में गया, मैं जरूर ये बताना चाहता हूं, तो जो हेलीकॉप्टर था वो बिजली के तार से लग गया. प्रमोद महाजन उछल को, मारोगे क्या साहब, इस पे कपड़े सूखते हैं, 2 साल से इसमें, 3 साल से इसमें कोई बिजली नहीं आ रही है. ये हाल बिहार का था. आज कोई गांव नहीं है जिस गांव में बिजली नहीं है.
अच्छा त्यागी जी, श्रीनिवासन जैन, एक आपसे सवाल पूछना था कि ये जो बड़ा दिल बीजेपी ने दिखाया जब सीटों का बंटवारा हो रहा था, अब जब बीजेपी की सरकार दोबारा आ रही है, लग रहा है कि दोबारा खुद उन्हें अपने आप में बहुमत मिल रही है, और बिना, अगर वो चाहें विदाउट अलायंस दे कैन स्टिल फॉर्म, बट ऑब्वियसली वो एनडीए की सरकार ही होगी. आप एक चीज क्या उम्मीद करेंगे बीजेपी से कि जिस तरह से उन्होंने अलायंस के साथ पिछले 5 साल से जो व्यवहार किया, इफ यू लाइक टू सी वन चेंज, वो क्या होगा?
देखिए, एक तो एनडीए का ऑफिस होना चाहिए, एक उसका कन्वीनर होना चाहिए, एक उसकी कमेटी होनी चाहिए, महीने में एक मीटिंग होनी चाहिए. ये जो कॉन्ट्राडिक्शंस बिल्डअप हुए, जो शिवसेना के साथ इतना बड़ा गैप हो गया कि शिवसेना और बीजेपी के नेता ही नहीं बैठते थे. 2 साल तक हम भी एनडीए में आने के बाद किसी मीटिंग का हिस्सा नहीं हुए. मुझे प्रसन्नता है कि अशोका होटल से एक नई शुरुआत हुई है. एंड अबव ऑल एक कॉमन मिनिमम प्रोग्राम होना चाहिए जिसकी लक्ष्मण रेखा पार कोई भी ना करे, ना वो करे ना हम करें. क्योंकि कुछ सवाल ऐसे हैं जो हमारे जहन में है, कुछ सवाल ऐसे हैं जो बीजेपी के हैं. हम नहीं कहते आप अपना एजेंडा छोड़ो, लेकिन जेडीयू भी अपना एजेंडा छोड़ने के लिए तैयार नहीं है. इसलिए कन्फ्रंटेशन ना हो, व्यूज डिफरेंट हो, ये कोई बुरी बात नहीं है. हमने चुनाव में आपके चैनल पर भी कई बार कहा कि कुछ सवालों पे हमारे बीजेपी के अलग अलग राय है, लेकिन उस पर कन्फ्रंटेशन नहीं होना चाहिए.
ये
और कुछ बयान ऐसे हैं कि प्रधानमंत्री को भी कहना पड़ा.
नहीं, ये आपने बड़ी, दिस इज इम्पोर्टेंट व्हाट यू सेड. एंड So just to take that to Mr. Nigam here, because I was asking you about how the BJP would treat its allies now. You heard Mr. Tyagi, they're saying you need to have NDA meetings, you have to have a common minimum program, have an office, have some kind of coordination committee. A convener. You think that the BJP would do that?
You know,
and should do that?
Every party learns from its from previous experience. And the suggestions out here are very practical suggestions that would at least ensure smooth functioning, that will ensure that people don't, speak against each other. They are not at crossroads. They are not, opposing each other's policies. So therefore, some kind of a coordination mechanism is a welcome suggestion.
Just to hold on for 1 second, talk about landslides, just have a look at the change in Andhra Pradesh. Let's have Andhra Pradesh figures up.
What's happening there now?
Let's have a look at what's happening there. Look at the change. 25 out of 25 for YSRC.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
25 out of 25.
Wow.
Amazing.
And 150
Amazing.
assembly seats out of 175.
150.
Amazing.
Sorry,
just no. This is actually remarkable because in a way, Prannoy, this has been the comeuppance of both these leaders, both Chandrababu Naidu and in a sense also KCR. Because both of them have been hopping around the country, trying to create a federal front, a parallel front. KCR with his own ambitions of trying to pitch to be deputy prime minister, and this is what it is.
Zero.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
It's been a long time for Jagan Reddy. He's been around the
He's
mill.
been
He's
really
been waiting.
He spent time in jail.
He was in
for
jail.
more than a year. And when Congress party looks back on it, there is a little lesson to learn that at one level you can't apply one principle to your children and another principle to your state leaders' children.
No, but will they learn a lesson? Oh.
I mean, look, logic tells you, conventional wisdom is that the loser learns more from a defeat than the winner from a victory. But 2014 has shown that Congress has reversed that logic.
Amitabh?
BJP has learned more.
I'm happy to take that up.
Very sporting.
You're saying that congressmen should learn to go to jail.
Pay the price, yes.
See, looking at these numbers as they are, I think it's clear that had the Congress, UP is a special case, I will agree, made those compromises with Haryana, Delhi, it would really not have had a big impact on the outcome. I've looked at the vote margins on the election website. They're pretty big margins for the BJP. So in retrospect, you may agree or disagree, but the survival strategy that Tyagi ji was saying is the rational strategy. If you look at the bigger picture, again, we'll have to see the numbers. The Congress and its alliance vote share is probably up 5-6%. So this is not, as Shekhar was saying, UPA 1 to UPA 2, the vote shift went in favor of the incumbent against the challenger. Here, actually, the Congress has improved, not enough to convert into seats. BJP has held on. So I think the national picture is that the Congress has advanced, it's just not enough. So it's survived for the next round, and we will be a strong opposition and act that way.
I have to take a break. I just have to take a break, Mr. Nigam. I have to. We will be back again. 60 seconds. 60 seconds, and we'll all be back. See you then.
So that's the look of Parliament now, really increasingly dominated by saffron. In fact, the BJP is doing, and its allies, BJP on its own and its allies doing much better than even in 2014. And the story is not over yet. You get this bump at the end and it's beginning to happen. BJP is getting more and more seats as more and more rounds are counting. This is beautiful Lok Sabha, where we are all sitting inside. We're in the speaker's chair. You can see dominated by saffron. And that's the actual wooden, they don't have a table in front of them. They use the back of the seat in front of them to thump. It's a complete replica, and we shall just go up to some of the the clocks inside, which are on real time on this, so it will tell you the actual time, and you'll see the little murals that are exact replica of the Lok Sabha, and in fact the people sitting there are almost a replica in terms of the colors.
Right.
Party position hasn't changed that much. If anything, an improvement for the BJP.
Should we elect a new Prime Minister while we're at it, since we have, all of Parliament under our
sitting
control?
there.
Do you still have questions on that?
No, but he has to still be formally elected.
But not a new Prime Minister, elect the Prime Minister.
Well, yeah.
But, just to Chandan Mitra, I mean, what would you say were the biggest mistakes that, for instance, Mamta made in the Bengal campaign? I mean, there the BJP gains are huge.
No, I don't see her making a mistake really, because she worked exactly the way she worked in the past, and which has always given her good results. I think the organization was very strong, Trinamool. Her schemes for the rural areas in particular were very popular, well liked. Yeah, the central schemes became a competitor, and she rejected many central schemes, saying we don't need them, we have our own schemes to replace. But so did Naveen Patnaik. But I think Mr. Modi had this overarching appeal, and since Bengal had never really tasted the BJP in power, I think there was a certain attraction for it.
I mean, in a sense, would you say she's one of the few leaders that resisted the Modi wave? Because she's 23 seats.
Very often, Prannoy.
So did Naveen Patnaik actually.
Naveen Patnaik has been in power for 4 terms. And it was becoming apparent that his popularity was falling. But in Bengal, the BJP as an ideology, the BJP as a party never really had any kind of traction. Unlike Odisha. Odisha, although they won very few seats, the BJP, but there was no hostility to the BJP or its ideology. In Bengal, there was active hostility, mainly from the left over all these years, and then from Mamata Banerjee, as you saw her kind of speeches. And the
but
way
do you
she
feel
attacked
the
Modi.
BJP gained by the hostility that the left had for the Trinamool Congress?
You see, a generation
Actually, you
has
want to
changed.
take a... We'll just come back
We'll
to
come
that.
back because we have Hemanta Biswa Sarma, one of the BJP's senior leaders from Assam, joining us live at this moment. Mr. Sarma, congratulations to you and your party. It looks like the BJP may do even better than it did in the 2014 election. Big day for you.
Yes, I think this is a big thumbs up for Prime Minister Modi. We are surely doing better than 2014.
Biswas, I've just had breaking news that the Congress party regrets everything and wants to come to you and ask you for some advice. They're going to come and meet you and ask you for some advice. And
I'll advise them to give a decent retirement to Rahul Gandhi.
ouch.
But
and then you'll rewind history and you'll join them again?
Hello?
Couldn't hear. Go ahead.
I think what Prannoy was asking is whether you'll join them again. But I just want to ask you one thing, Hemanta, that one of the sort of reading was that particularly because of the Citizens Amendment Bill, there was a negative backlash that you faced in Assam, even from your own allies. But that doesn't seem to have damaged your prospects. How would you explain that?
No, Citizenship Amendment Bill has greatly helped us because we have championed the cause of Hindi refugee. Although there was a little backlash from media, but common people of Assam believes that India has a responsibility to give shelter to the refugee who has came because of religious persecution from Bangladesh. And I am glad that both in Panchayat election and in Lok Sabha election, it was also a referendum for Citizenship Amendment Bill, and people has strongly supported our stand on Citizenship Amendment Bill, both in Bengal and Assam.
Right. Well, Mr. Sarma, what next? you know, will the BJP now, if it seems to be emerging stronger than from 2014, what do you see will be different about the way this government will govern from here on?
I think Prime Minister has, I had been in the Prime Minister meeting with NDA leader day before yesterday. He has said two things which is very important. He said that India, as we moving towards 75 years of independence, in India caste system should be redefined. There should be only one caste, one class, that is poor, and we should do everything possible towards upliftment of poor. He has strongly said that there should not be caste system in India, that is except one caste, that is the poor. I believe that these 5 years will be dedicated towards the upliftment of poor. He has also said that in India that few state has progressed, but few other state has remained backward. So one of the mandate of the new government will to look into this geographical development disparity, and he said that it will be our endeavor to bring the backward state into the equal development footing with that of forward state in the country. So that two were the big statement of Prime Minister Modi in the NDA meet.
But you know, Himanta, I just want to ask you that when you say on one hand that you want to erase caste boundaries and just have one caste as poor, but on the other hand, when you also have something like the Citizenships Amendment Bill, which is actually discriminating on the basis of religion and which many people believe is unconstitutional, how do you reconcile these two things?
No, I think the people who are criticizing us on citizenship bill, they are not appreciating the core of the bill. Who one can, you go by a very practical idea that in Bangladesh, Pakistan and Afghanistan, can a Muslim be religiously persecuted? Can a Muslim be persecuted for worshipping Quran?
Yes. They actually are.
Somebody today passed
they're persecuted in Pakistan.
They are persecuted. Saying that Muslims are
Mr.
also
Sarma,
being
they are
persecuted in Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh for worshipping
Mr. Sarma,
Quran.
they are persecuted. That is the point. They are persecuted in Pakistan, for example.
Transform itself to like that. I mean, you will have a set of bill which will address for the welfare of Muslim, and there will be a set of agenda which will be addressed towards the upliftment of Hindu. Like when we talk to
So
Talaq,
you are
it
making a
was
distinction
primarily
between
addressed
Hindu and
to the
Muslim.
people who worshipping Islam.
Exactly.
When we talk about Citizenship Amendment Bill, it is primarily addressed to the Hindu refugee, Christian refugee, Jain refugee and Buddhist refugee.
Well, the point is that there are Muslim refugees too.
Shias, Ahmadiyas, these are persecuted
exactly.
minority
Well, the
communities in
Rohingya
Pakistan.
also, but they were all branded, with one brush.
I think that was the point. No, give us the document that Ahmadiyya Muslims are in India and they have been thrown out of Bangladesh, Pakistan and Afghanistan for worshipping Quran. I am looking for that data. I am looking for that statistics. If at all Ahmadiyya Muslim are being discriminated in Pakistan for worshipping Quran, I think that will show to the world. That will be our biggest diplomatic victory against Pakistan. And we'll address this issue through many other aspects of Indian governing system. We can give asylum to the Ahmadiyya Muslim. If they can come and say it in Delhi, giving an affidavit that we have been discriminated for worshipping Quran in Bangladesh and Pakistan.
All right, well, Mr. Sarma, perhaps a glimpse of what the next few years might be like. Thanks very much, though, and congratulations once again on your big victory there. And we have Satyaprakash Mishra of the JDU as well. Satyaprakash Mishra, I mean, are these issues still going to be issues that the JDU will continue to red flag? The issues that you...
Yeah, definitely. We have actually in the past, we have expressed our concern on NRC 35A and 370 and Uniform Civil Code. This stance of our stand is since last 1996 when we formed alliance with the BJP. And you know, when Janata Party was in government, and that point of time Jansangh was the part, and that point of time preservation and protection of 370 was the manifest subject matter of the manifesto. So, Nitish Kumar and Keshi Tyagi type kinds of politicians since then fighting for the protection of 370 and 35A. So, there is no, there will not be any kind of compromise formula. Nitish Kumar himself come out after the election that we cannot, go for the, removal of 370 and, issue of Ram Temple and Babri Mosque. On every, disputed issue, we have clear-cut opinion before the BJP and we express our concern over there.
We have Tom Vadakan of the BJP joining us as well. And
there's going to be a slip of tongue.
Yes. I almost said Congress.
I almost, Chandan, we were slight doubt.
Tom Vadakan, how does it feel to be on the other side of the political divide today?
He's towards candidate also.
Well, feels good and the Josh is there and I think we'll continue doing the good work.
Okay, that's as short and sweet an answer as I've ever heard. What sort of role, Tom, do you think that Mr. Amit Shah could play in the new government?
Well, the Prime Minister and his President are two souls in one body. I mean, they think alike. The kind of thought processes, the kind of construct of their, the way they speak and the way they follow each other, and the kind of. I don't have words to describe these two. They have led the party from the front, and believe me, this is a combination that Free India has never seen, and that's what you're seeing. The results today is that the messenger and the message has reached where it had to, despite all the propaganda that ran against them. They have delivered, and that is the message from the people of India. Yes, what you're seeing on the screen.
Prannoy, I actually have a question based on what Tom was saying, that if you look at the BJP as it is today, especially after these results, when you look ahead now to 2024, the BJP seems to be going from a position of dominance to hegemony, perhaps like the Congress in the first couple of decades after independence. And this kind of election machine which they have forged with Amit Shah and Prime Minister Modi in perpetual campaign mode, where there's no distinction between party and government. Mr. Modi travels on government work, he gives election speeches. He goes on political work, he announces government schemes. I mean, this is going to be a formidable challenge this is not just a 5-year thing. This could be beyond.
Yeah, if we can ask Tom Vadakan, can you tell us how you managed to win despite your economy being in the worst shape for a long time, unemployment huge, cow problem all over the north, poverty, people are suffering, but you still won this huge landslide. Congratulations for that. But what did it? Despite reality being so contrary to what you think would be a winner's foundation.
See, I understand the question, but here I think the larger picture that was before the people, that this was a work in progress. And this was a work in progress, and they believed in the leadership of the Bharatiya Janata Party. People had faith that this team can deliver, whereas the other side had no narrative, and the narrative that they followed was of negativism. You remember that campaign that they ran by Rediff, negativism, and the net result was before the public. In India, negativism doesn't sell, and the point here is an aspirational India looking forward for a stable country, and it's not just business as usual, but they want to look forward that the economy is put on the right track, and they believe that the Bharatiya Janata Party can deliver. When people believe you, there's nothing to come between the people and the leadership.
Right. Mr. Vadakan, thanks very much for that. Sagarika, you want to weigh in on the question actually that Vasu raised about the hegemony of the BJP?
It's very much like the Congress system of the 60s and 70s, where there was this massive behemoth. But I have a point about
so could this be 10, not just 5 years, but are we talking of 10 years, perhaps more,
Yeah,
not necessarily of Modi Raj, but BJP Raj.
Yeah, I had a point about learning from the weaknesses of the Congress. For example, if you invisibilize and delegitimize the opposition, you actually create a greater opposition. Maybe not in the short term, but in the long term, as Mamta has done. She's delegitimized and invisibilized the opposition, but created a massive resistance to her rule. So you actually end up bolstering the opposition if you try to snuff it out. That's a lesson number one. Second of all, the centralized party structure. I think the BJP surge in the 80s was the collegiate party that had been built by Advani and Vajpayee with the number of leaders at the second tier. I think if the BJP gets out of the collegiate party system and goes in for a centralized, single-focus, one-man show type leadership, then again it could imitate the weaknesses of the Congress, which is the centralized leadership and not, not having that collegiate structure which powered its growth in the first place. Thirdly, this reliance on Modi and the reliance on the personality cult of Mr. Modi, enormously popular. I think his popularity is probably like Jawaharlal Nehru today. He's even he's far bigger than his party. So this structure, often we have seen in these huge personality cults, they actually end up weakening the party structure and alienating allies. I mean, I'm sure the JDU would not be that comfortable with a political system in which your relevance is entirely dependent on the personality of Mr. Narendra Modi. I mean, if it wasn't for Mr. Narendra Modi, would you even have won? And what does that mean for your relevance? What does it mean for your survival? What does it mean for you as a party?
The growth rate of Bihar is 11.3%. Every village, every household of every village has electricity facility. The good governance is there, and we had the 16% vote share in the 2014 Lok Sabha election. That was respected none other than Amit Shah and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and we got 17 seats, equal partnership in this election. And since 2009, NDA has done well in the Bihar Lok Sabha election, especially if you go to the entire India, the Bihar will perform the bestest.
But without Narendra Modi, you got 2 seats.
No, that point of time we contested alone. We contested alone. That point of time we contested alone, and we had 16% vote share, and we won 2 seats.
Aarti Jairath had a point.
When you go for an assembly election, you need the BJP more than the BJP needs you. So you can't afford to irritate the BJP at all.
We had, in 2005 assembly election, we had very few seats of MLAs, but BJP chose our leader to be the chief minister. Such kind of respect from the BJP to the Nitish Kumar matters. So don't worry about NDA at all.
But wouldn't a weakened Modi have been good for you?
Not at all. Why we would like to weaken Modi?
I mean, Modi would have
strongest Modi will be better for India.
I think we need to stop analyzing what's happening in India in conventional political terms. There is a new phenomenon called Modi, who has emerged and dominates the landscape, and he's completely redefining it. And I think the main problem for us who traveled on the ground and failed to see this wave, and even for political parties who are trying to challenge him, they have not understood the impact of this Modi phenomenon. And if your vote share figures that you flashed earlier, if they turn out to be true, and there is actually
very early rounds, so
all
we
right,
have to
but
look at
if the BJP's vote share actually goes up, then that means that Modi has cut through caste, cut through creed, cut through regions, and he has won on the basis of a new kind of politics. And unless we understand there's no way we can challenge him.
Spend a moment.
Religion.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we should spend a moment. No, we should spend a moment. No.
Religion.
No Muslims are voting for the BJP. BJP is not having, just 1 second. BJP is hardly any candidates that are Muslims. So I think we should all spend a second to think about 185 million people and what they're feeling today.
Can you disenfranchise them?
There's trepidation and worry and fear in them. And I've talked to many of them before this. And there's no reaching out by the BJP. They have fewer and fewer candidates. They don't even go to Muslim areas. I mean, they've just cut off 185 million people. Just spend a minute thinking about them. Please. It's a serious problem. They are India.
One thing is about winnability. When you are in a competitive politics, you would like candidates to win. That is probably one of the reasons. Now, secondly, let me finish off. I mean, nodding heads would not cut through me.
No, I mean, I can disagree with you if you don't mind.
Sorry to say that. But the fact remains, Muslim women have voted. Please remember.
We have the data. They
No, your data may be there, but the response that we have from the ground that Muslim women have come out and voted. One. Secondly,
this is a big myth.
Secondly, let me complete. Secondly, the schemes
turkeys
have
don't
touched
vote for
Muslims
Christmas.
also.
Have you heard that phrase? Turkeys don't vote for Christmas.
Let me. I am not going into Turkey and Christmas right now. Then I'll have to go to Deepavali and other festivals also.
Everything is political.
Sorry.
That was on the lighter side, the way you were.
Christmas is
So
anti-national.
Takas don't vote for matches.
See, let me answer. Let me answer.
Can't defeat Prannoy.
No, that's fine. His English is much better than me. That's but let me talk on
Bengali.
Let me on content. I'm not a Bengali, although I look like one.
Yes.
I was in Kolkata 2 days back participating in a national debate there, Indian Chamber of Commerce. And I met a lot of people in Bengal. And there was a lot of groundswell for BJP there. They said they were only worried whether it would convert into vote share or not. And secondly, most of these schemes that the BJP launched that went on the ground touched a lot of Muslims. The one factor that came out was that many Muslims who were supposed to vote for the non-BJP parties did not come out and vote because of the benefits they received under the scheme. That is also a plus for BJP, and tomorrow there is a
What about the word termite?
No. See, those rhetorics I am not going into, but the fact remains these schemes that the government launched has touched Muslims, Hindus and others.
In this victory, don't you think you need to introspect, not only in defeat, introspect about, are you reaching out enough to 185 million people? Are you doing enough? And will you change?
No, the fact is BJP's image, that kind of image that has been created, that it is anti-Muslim. It is not. The schemes, Ayushman Bharat, the health scheme started from a Muslim Mewat. They especially ensured that it started from Mewat.
You especially ensured that. It wouldn't have happened otherwise.
No.
So it's a symbolic thing.
No, it's not symbolic. It's the outreach. You see it as symbolic. I see it as an outreach to Muslim community.
But no Muslim candidate in UP.
Therefore, Muslims are also changing. The BJP is also changing.
The day you say, yes, we need to introspect, we need to reach out more, everybody will feel happier. If you say you're doing enough, you've done enough, I think that's the biggest worry for...
No, it's an ongoing process. The party has already outreached them. The process is an ongoing one. More and more people will be reached, and Muslims are also not changing. That anti-BJP image is slowly changing.
Well,
I'm not sure on what basis you keep saying that.
One second, one moment, guys, one moment. We have Nalin Kohli of the BJP.
Under Mr. Vajpayee.
Yeah. So Nalin Kohli of the BJP is joining us from the BJP headquarters. Nalin, first of all, a big congratulations to you and for the big victory of the party today. Just to sort of continue the conversation that Prannoy was having with Deshratan Nigam here, will there be perhaps an introspection and a more conscious effort made by the BJP now, even with this majority, to address the fears and concerns of Muslims who do feel a certain sense of trepidation?
Thank you, Nidhi, for those good wishes, and good afternoon to everyone on the panel there.
Congratulations.
Four things as opening comments, and I'll answer your question. Thank you. I'll answer your question after that. First is that this is clearly not just a victory of the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, but we attribute it to the work that he did over the last 5 years, the honesty of intent which started translating in terms of delivery, and the promise that he's laying out for the future ahead in terms of the work that needs to be done. Also, I think our party president will deserve credit for stitching together the alliances, making the NDA stronger, and more importantly, creating an organizational structure that could benefit in terms of the work that the government did. And this is a pro-incumbency vote. It's not happened in a very, very long time in this country. So that's the opening comment. With regards to what you say is the fear, I think a lot of it is perceived. And I have 3-4 comments to make on that. Number one, there is a narrative that has been against the BJP consistently. Aarti just now said that this is Narendra Modi ji coming and redefining the parameters. And I think you need to, that's something I've said from 2014. If people are going to wear the perceptions of the past, wear spectacles to see the things in the manner that they believe they wish to see it, they're never going to get it right. The government of Prime Minister Modi for 5 years did not have a single decision or agenda that could say that it was against Muslims, Hindus, Christians, Buddhists, Parsis, Jews. There was not a decision that was discriminatory. what is the confusion is that a few individual comments that come from, say, lawmakers is perceived to be the policy of the government, which is incorrect. Article 19, and I say this as an advocate, does not apply one way. Article 19 applies to everyone who has a point of view. You can't say that a BJP lawmaker cannot have a point of view, even though that may not be government policy. When the church attacks took place, was the BJP behind it? When the nun was raped regretfully in Bengal, was the BJP behind it? But these were allegations against us. They were Bangladeshi illegal immigrants.
I think you've forgotten
So
the lynchings,
my only
but
point is,
anyway.
and I say it after being in one last comment, when I was in, just a last comment, in Varanasi, I've heard from people on the ground, there are Muslim women also who vote for us. They don't say so, but they do vote for us. But yes, should a government be inclusive? Of course. A government has to be inclusive because that's what Prime Minister Modi have said.
Right.
The government of India is the government of India. It's not the government of only the BJP or those who vote for the BJP.
Right. Nalin, I just want to make a Vasu here. Just again, congratulations, by the way, phenomenal win. But just to make a point about what you said about a few instances.
And of course, the credit goes to the Karyakartas and the leaders.
Right. And a few instances that you said of speeches that are made here and there. We've actually been tracking on NDTV what we call VIP hate speech. That is hateful comments made by high-ranking politicians. These are MPs, ministers, chief ministers, party presidents, governors. This has gone up 600% in the past 5 years. 600%. There are close to 170 instances of the kind of speeches that we can't even play on the channel sometimes. They're so terrible. 70% of those speeches are made by BJP leaders. And the problem is, Nalin, not only do they make these speeches, you say this is not party policy, nothing happens to them. They're not reprimanded, they're not penalized, they don't lose their positions. You can then understand why there is a very strong perception about what your party feels about
Vasu?
those communities that are
Let me answer
abused
this. You made an
on a
intelligent
consistent
analysis.
basis.
So let me answer that. Let me answer that. First, I think the discourse globally, and India is no exception, is losing civility. And the social media has made it even more aggressive with, very strong points of view. And therefore, in a sense, civility has reduced in what we're seeing from an old school perspective. That's one. It's become direct, it's become even rude. Number two, when you say focus is on the BJP, I'm not saying 70% is by BJP. In fact, 100% of the focus is on the BJP. We are the party in power. We are the flavor of the season, if I may put it in that sense, with humility. So obviously the focus is there. The third is, let's not forget, a lot of obnoxious things have been said from Indira Gandhi's time, but not reported. That's the nature of campaigning also, because all sorts of people are there. We are a diverse country. There are diverse views, diverse ways of speaking. What you and I may speak today in a studio may not be the lingo 50 kilometers away from Delhi, or even 10 kilometers outside the zone where we are sitting. Different people speak from their own truth, their own lingo, their own styles.
Just a quick last question.
The last point is, take Sadhvi Pragya. Did not Prime Minister come down strongly, unequivocally, and has not Amit Shah as the party president sent out an equally strong message?
She's still well. That's another debate we can have for several hours on her. But Nalin Kohli, look, this is a big victory for you all today, and undoubtedly Amit Shah has led a superb campaign for the BJP. Just to ask you whether, though there is some concern at all over the personality cult that is building around Mr. Modi, this is his win, this is his victory. There is only Mr. Modi on all the election posters, banners, everywhere else. Is there a sense now that the BJP is Modi and Modi is BJP?
First, it's a humbling victory because the sense of responsibility that comes on our shoulders is even greater. It's the aspirations of 1 billion plus people, and in aspirations that they wish to see this government do more. So therefore, it's humbling in that, and of course, there's a sense of responsibility that is inherent into a victory like this of all that needs to be done. The second is what you say with regard to the personality culture. I mean, show me a Congress poster that showed 14 leaders or 15 leaders. There's a family cult on the other side. They are entitled to have that. That's their form of leadership that they do. In our case, if we are fortunate to have someone who's as popular, on whom the country is willing to vote, why wouldn't we put that forward? The last part is, I don't know, and there are experts sitting on your panel. I think the personality has been an important part of elections in India from Nehru's time. We recall, or some parties depend on Nehru, we recall Nehru, Indira Gandhi, Lal Bahadur Shastri, Rajiv Gandhi, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Chandrasekhar, so on and so forth, right up to Prime Minister Modi. So I think personalities are important, but I made this point in the beginning. If the organization wasn't strengthened by Amit Bhai Shah, how would we do? This is lakhs of karyakarta, and in this case crores, as one of the largest parties in the world, carrying the shoulder on their shoulder the work of the government, taking it to the people and returning back with the votes through the booth. So I think the party is very important, if not even more important than earlier.
Thank you very much, and many congratulations once again. It's a astounding victory. Many congratulations.
To be with you on this panel after a long time.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just wanted to make a point on the Muslim vote. Prannoy, while I completely agree about this whole thing of disempowering and disenfranchising Muslims, and that the BJP hasn't done enough to reach out to them and allay their fears, the fact that the Muslim vote seems to have split in UP, which is what your data suggests, indicates that maybe Muslims are not as scared as we think they are.
No, split between Congress and
or whatever,
Mahagathbandhan.
but the fact is that they could
How
have
does that
consolidated.
show lack of
Listen, they could have consolidated with the Gathbandhan.
No, Aarti,
Prannoy.
it's very
they
difficult.
should have consolidated with the Gathbandhan.
Believe you me, it's very difficult on the ground to know which candidate is going to win. Everybody has a different opinion. Consolidation is, this tactical voting is one of the toughest. Half of the middle class of Delhi wanted to know which candidate should I vote, AAP or Congress, who's winning. You can't
Delhi
tell.
is a different thing to UP. UP, the Congress was really a marginal player with a 6% vote share in 2017.
Yeah, but it's more than double this time. It's more than double, and Priyanka Gandhi gave it a boost.
To the Muslims.
Big boost.
It's thanks to the Muslim vote splitting.
But that doesn't suggest
That's
that they're not
saying.
scared.
Yeah.
It just suggests that they're confused.
Wait, Sudhendra.
Good guys, Nalin Kohli, the BJP spokesperson, that the government has to be inclusive and it's a government for all. But going into this election, the BJP did not focus on the slogan that had really endeared it to so many people, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. That was not a slogan this time at all. It was not an inclusive campaign this time. What they did was that we are the upholder of nationalism, and nationalism itself was defined in Hindu terms. So on the one hand, Hindu consolidation of the Hindu vote bank and conflating it with nationalism. Correct. That has given the BJP a big boost in this election. But in the process, they have also sent a signal that we don't really need Muslims to get elected.
Yep.
So Muslims don't matter. They are not giving tickets to Muslims, and Muslim issues, Muslim concern, Muslim aspirations have not really figured in their campaign. If at all, some of their leading functionaries have had absolutely no hesitation in talking against Muslims, including the Prime Minister himself. You know, his talk about minority and majority constituency, what is it? It was also a polarizing campaign. So therefore, the concerns of the Muslim community certainly remain, and we have to wait and watch how NDA 3.0 will address this very important question.
And Sudhendra, just one more point to that, just to add, not only are they living in anxiety now, I mean, I've talked to hundreds of them on our travels. They also, if this intensifies, it's breeding ground for terrorists to come up. If somebody gets lynched, your brother gets lynched, your mother gets lynched, your father gets lynched, it's a breeding ground. So
the Prime Minister
did not
condemn the many incidents of mob lynching.
I'm going to take this moment just for a second to go across to Amitoj, who's at the Congress headquarters here in Delhi. And Amitoj, anyone around? We saw Priyanka Gandhi driving into Rahul Gandhi's house a couple of hours ago. But any word at all whether we will hear from Rahul Gandhi later in the day or not?
You are asking me a very interesting question, Nidhi. From 6 o'clock in the morning, we've been standing out here waiting, trying to make sense of what has happened today. And I just want to give you a bit of a glimpse. Look at that. I don't want to call it that, but it just feels like a bit of a morning out here. And I'm stopping short of calling it that, but just a few things that I've been talking to Congress spokespersons out here, people within the Congress, some of them who are really high up in the political leadership. Late last night, in fact, spoke to some of them, and they were talking about these 3 scenarios that you also mentioned in a short while back, particularly the first 2 where they would be in a comfortable, favorable position where they could at least try to cobble up the numbers. Now that's not the case, and in all of this situation, you were expecting a kind of a political khalbali. That's not happened. It's a very clear scenario for the BJP, and the Congress has to answer some tough questions. And that last scenario where they were expecting that they would be in this kind of a situation, perhaps not this bad, but somewhat better than what it is right now, they were thinking that they might even ask for the support of someone like an Uddhav Thackeray, and that is what was happening. That they were looking at the fact that they were not getting answers to questions like whether they'll be able to get that, Shiv Thackeray kind of an alliance. But if I can just, put forth some questions to those who are there, because these are the questions, the tough questions that the BJP will ask of the Congress. Should Rahul Gandhi, keeping in mind what's happening in Amethi, actually resign? Should this be an opportunity for the Congress to perhaps put Priyanka Gandhi in the prime position? Because there is a sentiment amongst many that she is the favorable candidate for a prime ministerial post in the future for the Congress. And if not for Amethi, then for the overall position of the Congress, where it has this debacle that has gone on, should Rahul Gandhi be removed and somebody else come up and take that position? Those are questions that will be asked. And the final question, why is it that the Congress didn't come together in states and do what it needed to do, even if it had to settle for 2 seats in UP, if it had to settle for just, giving the Aam Aadmi Party 1 or 2 in Punjab, and in Delhi giving all 7 to the Aam Aadmi Party. I mean, what's happened out here in Delhi? Just to give you a sense of West Delhi and Northwest Delhi, the bellwethers that have been mentioned in Dr. Roy's book also, for 11 Lok Sabha elections since 1977, West Delhi has actually gone ahead and decided who would actually be forming the government centrally, and that's exactly what's happened this time. Within the first hour, we knew about that, both in West Delhi and Northwest Delhi, which is 9 elections, Lok Sabha elections. And if I could just, say one other thing, which is, we were thinking about the fact that they'll probably need some friends, the BJP or the Congress, but the BJP doesn't need any friends. And I mean, Sagrika was talking about how the Congress needed to milo ya maro, and we know what's happened. So there are some tough questions for the Congress, and I was in Delhi and I saw this kind of a wave for the BJP with the Congress in the APA split. I saw that in Western UP also. It wasn't clear what was going to happen. There was this, clear sentiment, and it wasn't about nationalism. It was simply Modi. It wasn't about Mikas. It was just Modi. Each candidate was riding on that aspect of Modi. And I just want to end by asking all of you a question out here on a lighter note. It has to be asked. How's the Josh?
What's your answer? Answer your own questions. No, you raised a very important questions. What are you hearing about what's happening in the Congress party?
Well, it's like I said, it feels like a morning, I'm telling you right now that there are people within the Congress who will be spoken to by anchors like yourself, Dr. Roy, and Nidhi and Vasu, and they will not have questions. They're actually trying to firm up a narrative right now about what they're going to say when there are questions about Rahul Gandhi in Amethi. They knew about Wayanad. That is what everyone's going to assume now. That's why they knew. That's why they went to Wayanad. So, if you ask me about how's the Josh, it is down. The only thing that they feel good about is that they have given, they feel that they are still, if you look at the graph, it couldn't have gone worse than what happened last time, right? So they're still going up, and they still have to believe that they can come back in the next election and do better. But I think the worry is not now about what's happened here. This was perhaps expected. The exit polls have got it right. The worry is Karnataka. The worry is Madhya Pradesh. The worry is the other states that they could potentially lose, that they had a chance of winning after this election. Karnataka particularly, I mean, there are those within the Karnataka leadership in the Congress, and I've just got a retweet of Roshan Beg's son, who's actually said, Nidhi, he's retweeted something that says, get ready for Kumaraswamy switching to the BJP. So that just gives you a sense of this is not a national loss, but a loss of 2 states potentially too.
All right, Amitoj, thanks so much for that update from the...
If they lose one more seat, the Congress, there won't be another leader of the opposition. They've reached a stage. They are 54 now. They're 54. If they get to 53, there is no leader of the opposition. You need to have 10% of the seats to be a leader of the opposition.
you can be leader of opposition if not just the leader of the largest party, but leader of the largest pre-poll alliance as well.
The
largest
Lok Sabha does not, there is no pro-poll alliance inside the Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha only recognizes party.
We have Manoj Ladwa of the BJP joining us as well at this hour. And Manoj Ladwa, of course, has been a key strategist for the party. And Manoj, many congratulations to you. You were smiling the other day when the exit polls came and you believed they were right, and they were. Just, take us through what you think actually ended up working for the BJP despite all the anti-incumbency or at least, the economy, the problems with the economy, etc. Ultimately, Modi saw you through. Is it just as simple as that, or is there something more to it?
Thanks a lot, Nidhi, and thanks a lot for your wishes and kind words. I think there are multiple factors that have led to this victory. Firstly, the work has shown. The fact that 5 years of hard work by Prime Minister Modi and the Council of Ministers has actually borne fruit on the ground. People are voting not just because of an idea or a hope this time. They're voting because of what's happened on the ground and they're feeling change. And so this is a massive vote of confidence in Prime Minister Modi and in the BJP and their leadership. Right. Secondly, as far as the campaign is concerned, I believe that Prime Minister Modi and the BJP have fought a very strong campaign, a very focused campaign, and a very structured campaign. And that professionalism you saw in 2014, and we've only seen an improvement of that in 2019. So a combination of hard work, which is paying off on the ground, and a great election campaign has led to this victory.
Right. Just Manoj, Vasu here, congratulations. Great result. What would you identify, Manoj, if you were to say was the one distinguishing feature that was different from 2014? How was the campaign of 2014 different from this one?
A very good question. 2014, Modi was generally an unknown entity across the country, and therefore it was a very big, bold campaign to introduce Prime Minister Modi. This time, if you actually analyze it, the BJP fought 7 different mini campaigns, and in each different section of the campaign, you saw a subtle change of gear, a subtle change of messaging across the campaign as it built up to the final 2 or 3 phases. So I saw that as the big distinct feature of the BJP campaign against the other parties who thought that they could lead with maybe one slogan or one narrative and one size fits all. That doesn't work in India. You do need to be nuanced, and I think that was a major distinguishing factor. And again, I've mentioned Prime Minister Modi. I think we should also acknowledge the hard work and graft of Amit Shah as well, and the work he did at booth levels across the country. Some people ridiculed it at the time, some people didn't recognize it, but if you see it, the results here are showing that the work of the grassroots is paying dividends for the BJP.
Finally, Manoj, you're based out of the UK, and NRIs have been a sort of a huge support base for Mr. Modi all these 5 years, and clearly that love affair continues. They still love him.
Yes, of course. Can you imagine any other global leader that could fill Wembley Stadium, Madison Square Gardens? He is a rock star. He is really admired by the NRI community and people of Indian origin, but not because of the charisma. There is, of course, charisma, but it's because of the vision that he has, and it's a vision that people of Indian origin and NRIs have actually bought into. They've seen the progress in the West, and they want to see that same progress happening in India as well. They want to see good roads, they want to see good schools, good hospitals, and it's that progress that the NRI community has really bought into, and that's why you're going to see the support only grow.
All right, Manoj Ladwa, thank you very much.
Ram, can I just ask you a Bengali question? There's a global... Why are you laughing?
Sorry, he's making
There's a global swing to the right in almost every country. Is there such a thing as a global phenomenon, and are we part of that?
I'm sure the interlinkages are there, the ideological, the political.
And it crosses
They
boundaries.
learn from each other, yes, it is true, but it's not uniform, I think. There could be breaks in the links in the chain, but right now that is a very prominent part of the global political landscape. There's no question about it.
But Prannoy,
we shouldn't overgeneralize. I think each situation is different.
What is unique?
I read this article by Ruchir Sharma in the New York Times where he says that somebody who he expected to be a Ronald Reagan ended up being Bernie Sanders.
Right,
so
I read that, yeah.
And so on. I mean, I didn't buy
but
that.
there's this Harvard academic, Yasha Monk, who's written that the new global trend now is the elected autocrat. So the person who comes up through democracy and becomes an authoritarian autocrat, but then turns his back on democracy and democratic processes. So Putin, Duterte, Erdogan, Bolsonaro, Orban, these are all the 21st, Trump, Mr. Modi, these are all the 21st century's elected autocrats.
But you know that interesting point that Ruchir, that Ram referred to, that Modi was actually seen as a Bernie Sanders, is interesting because on one hand you have a party that's actually taken a hard right turn when it comes to their social agenda, but a left turn when it comes to the economic agenda.
Yes. I don't buy that. I don't buy that.
We get the worst of both worlds. We get the right
wing. The worst of both. Okay.
Right wing socially and the left wing still economically.
You'd like it the other way around.
At least I would like one to be right.
Good old libertarian.
Which one would you like
good
to
old
be right?
libertarian. Libertarian.
Economics at least.
But I think
not economics. Well, I mean, since I have only one vote, so I can't speak for everybody. But if you have this verdict and this government, then I would like this government to get it right on the economy. It hasn't, because economic growth last 5 years has been dismal. Job creation has been dismal. Many other factors have combined to bring them back into power. It will be very delusional for them to think that all is well, because if they do, moods can change very quickly. Remember Rahul Gandhi, the first 2 years, he would say nothing that won't make our moms cry. After 2 years, he could say nothing that won't make our children laugh. So moods can change very dramatically.
And it's important that you see, economy did not seem to play any role at all. With the economy in the doldrums, with prices and the farmer distress being a fact of life, in spite of that, when you have this kind of result in UP of all places, then it is very clear that the economy does not seem to matter.
The Prime Minister's own Economic Advisory Council member told us that India is heading into a middle income trap. This was just like 10 days ago.
I think middle income is a blessing.
If I can just comment on that.
Sri Lanka is twice as big as ours in terms of per capita GDP now.
Bangladesh will overtake us in 5 years.
Just for an issue to be an election issue, it has to be fulfill two criteria. One, it has to be important to you, like distress is, berozgari is very important. The second criteria, that's not enough for the election issue. Second is, voters must be one side is better than the other side at solving it. And that's what failed this time.
That is true.
Issue of credibility comes into.
It can be terribly important to you, like corruption is important. I go to the bank, they ask me for money to get my own money out. But who, the other side is going to solve it? No. So it's not an election issue, it's an issue in my life.